I'm back here in studio along with Kim St. Ange and Ethan Bright, and my thanks to Dan Buck for filling in yesterday, doing a great job. I got to listen to part of the show, Kim, because I headed back early yesterday from my trip, so I got to listen to you guys. Sounded great.
You just can't leave the news biz, can you?
Well, I mean, it's not like I take a day off for a bereavement day, and then there's an attempted assassination the night before.
I thought about that. It seems like every time you're not here, something big happens the day before.
When Roe v. Wade got overturned, I was on vacation in Florida, sitting on a beach when the news broke. Drove me bonkers that I couldn't be near a microphone to talk about it. Just absolutely bad luck on my part in terms of timing. But, I mean, you guys handled it very well yesterday. I appreciated that. The faux outrage on the left. How dare you accuse us of fomenting violence? And I'm just shaking my head. I've got so much to say about it this morning. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. But, yeah, it is so obviously one-sided rhetoric. And you see these No Kings protests, and you see them get promoted as peaceful events where you've got people carrying signs calling Donald Trump Hitler and, basically wanting him run out of office and calling him a tyrant and all of that. And you think to yourself, what impact is this having on the low IQ individual who's too stupid to realize how stupid these people really are and who might try to act out on that? And then you find out it's not just the low IQ people, it's people with engineering degrees who are brainwashed by these crazy leftists into believing this garbage, and then they take matters into their own hands at this hotel. Shocking.
Well, that was what was funny to me. It's the people who are so anti-gun certainly seem to like the guns when they can use them to try to assassinate the people they do not agree with.
Well, a couple thoughts on that this morning, too. Unfortunately, it's 2A Tuesday, and we got Mark Walters with us, and we'll talk a little bit more with him about this. It does speak to the ignorance of the left. I just have to say that the weapons he chose to try to attack 65 armed Secret Service agents and thinking it would get him into the door where he could wreak havoc on the president or others inside. I mean, he clearly had no idea what he was doing. He just was able to go buy a long gun, which happened to be apparently a pump action shotgun. Which can be effective at short range, but beyond that, I mean, what are you going to do once you get in the door if he was to make it that far? None of it made any sense. None of it was logical from the point of view of actually pulling this off. I think the guy wanted to commit suicide by cop.
Well, that was my thought. He went in there not expecting to come out alive, which is he wrote the manifesto. I don't think he had any thought of, I could be spending the rest of my life in prison. I thought certainly he went in there thinking, this is my last day here. Well,
again, the whole weekend having to listen to all of these pundits, and I tried to watch CNN and MS Now. It was enough to make you want to put your head through the wall over here. Try to claim that, we all need to bring down the temperature in the room. No, you need to bring down the temperature in the room. It's nobody on this radio station. When Barack Obama was president of the United States, when Joe Biden was president of the United States, we did not come on this radio station and joke about somebody killing Joe Biden or Barack Obama. You didn't even cross your mind to insinuate that or to joke about it or to think that such a joke would be funny. And the left does it constantly. And when they do it, and even if they were to acknowledge on some level that it was in poor taste, do they condemn it? Oh, no. After the fact, they'll claim they condemned it, but when it's happening, they don't condemn it. I mean, this is where we are today, and it is really sad. that we're having to have this debate every single time. And for Barack Obama to say, well, it's not clear what the motive is yet. What world does he live in? We've got the guy's manifesto. You notice how all these lefties have a manifesto?
Yeah, and I was a little shocked he sent it out to family. Did you hear that?
Well, I mean, clearly he was mentally disturbed.
Right.
Right?
The former teacher of the month.
Yeah. Teacher of the month.
Glad he was around a lot of children. Yeah. Doesn't that make you feel secure?
Influencing your children. This is what the NEA brings you, is people like this who they drive into mental illness with their leftist messaging all the time. Wow. The death of common sense is what it is. There's no doubt about that. We've got lots to talk about this morning, though. We got some Kid Rock tickets to give away, apparently for Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, coming up later in May, a couple days before I'm going to go see Triumph out there. We have got former Senator John Lamping on this morning. We've got Todd Piro, host of Fox and Friends First, who was there at the Correspondents' Dinner. Mark Walters is going to join us for 2A Tuesday. We're going to talk to State Representative Richard West because we are now, just 2 weeks or so from the end of the session. We're going to get an update from him because the House has a couple of big decisions to make in the coming weeks as to what actually gets out of there before this is over with. And Ryan Wiggins in the 8 o'clock hour as well. But right now, Ethan, why don't we go ahead and get to our top stories, please?
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
O'Donnell had no cause to read the ramblings of a loon. None. Yet she tried to humiliate the President of the United States, who was just attacked.
Yeah. Bill O'Reilly there yesterday talking about that interview Norah O'Donnell did with the president. Disgusting. And the president fired back on her as he should have.
I think this is a helpful assassination attempt because it is the first one to show that you can be radicalized by liberal smugness.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg Gutfeld. Gutfeld had a little bit of fun with him on the Five yesterday, pointing out the complete hypocrisy of the left on this issue.
Carrie Lake, the election denier who's currently in charge of Voice of America, she approached a CNN table after the shooting and blamed journalists for the attempted attack and personally insulted one of our correspondents as a, quote, midget.
I'm sorry, I probably should have laughed at that. You know who Carrie Lake was talking about. It had to be Brian Stelter, right? Who's finally back on CNN. He got fired and they brought him back for some reason. Because I only know that because Jimmy Kimmel interviewed him as he was walking into the place. So I know that's who they're talking about. Carrie Lake went up and confronted them after this happened and said, you share the blame for this. And, of course, Jake Tapper, who didn't realize Joe Biden was asleep at the wheel for 4 years, was completely offended that anybody would suggest that.
If there is no deal, what comes next?
Well, again, that's the president's decision to make. I would start out by reminding everybody that the level of sanctions on Iran are extraordinary. The pressure on Iran is extraordinary. And I think more can be brought to bear. But I hope that in the aftermath of this conflict, the whole world's eyes have been opened to the threat Iran poses.
Yeah, thank you, Marco Rubio. He's going to go down in history as one of our greatest secretaries of state. So somebody point that out. But yeah, there's a deal on the table this morning if you're just waking up. The Iranians will agree to reopen the strait, even though they don't really have the power to close it. But they don't want to talk about the nuclear weapons deal. There is no way, mark it down right here, mark the tape, zero, nada, zilch chance Donald Trump accepts that deal. He's going to tell them to rot and enjoy all of that oil they've got backing up in all their pipelines right now because they've got nowhere to store it. He's got them exactly where he wants them. And he will never give them a deal until they agree on the nuclear stuff. That just take my word for that. That's what's going to happen. All right. Well, I've run long again here, so we will get to our first break this morning and our national anthem, please.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's lead light. Once so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' bright glance, the bombs bursting in us, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Whoa, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
And things are moving pretty well out there. We just have one stall to look for on 70 westbound just before 270. It's partially in a lane, but that won't be there long. The rest of the roadways look very good. This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes. The McKelvey Homes Spring Event is one of the best offers they've had in years. Rates as low as 4.75% and savings up to $124,000 on move-in ready homes. The event ends May 31st. Schedule your tour today at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey. I'm Trent Erickson at 518 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, Home Shield Foundation Repairs is there for you. You know, you woke up this morning, you went downstairs after all that rain. I mean, there were some downpours yesterday. I drove through part of it. I can tell you, fortunately, no hail or anything where I was. I know there was hail and I know there were tornadoes, but not where I was, just lots of rain. Home Shield is there to help you dry out that basement and then fix it so it doesn't happen again. That's what you got to do. You got to get it fixed once and for all. And who do you call? You need somebody who's going to be honest with you and make sure that you're not buying services you don't need. That's Matt Hayes. He's the foundation guy. 314-271-9900. They'll take care of it. You know, I had a friend call the other day with a question about his garage floor. Well, Home Shield Foundation Repairs can help you with that, too. They deal with foundations. If it's the walls of your basement, if it's your driveway, you got a low spot, doesn't matter. The rain starts pooling somewhere, they can level that up. If you have foundation issues at all, Home Shield Foundation Repairs is the answer. One-stop shopping right there. 314-271-9900. Ask them about their lifetime warranty when they dry out your basement. Go online anytime and tell them Mark sent you. It's HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL or visit civialaw.com.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
Hey, does the Kings in town, does anybody care? Isn't it a little weird we're celebrating our 250th anniversary of freedom from tyranny, but the King of England is here.
I wondered why.
Well, I mean, it was planned well in advance.
I know it was planned.
The state visit. I don't know why. Given the sort of strained relationship with the prime minister over there right now, I just wonder what it is they're talking about. What niceties they're exchanging.
It just feels like of all times, this is not the time to come over here.
I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they did it. I mean, I guess he could have decided not to come. But while I see that relationship as still important, right? I mean, I honestly, ancestrally feel like England, as part of Europe, is one of our closest allies. Obviously, we fought them to separate from them as a colony and create our own country. There's a lot of ties there, certainly. And they were great allies during the world wars. I mean, obviously, we bailed them out twice.
I'm sorry, are you talking about World War XI?
Yeah, World War XI, according to Elon Omar.
I hope people know what we're talking about. She's trying to read.
Did you pull that bite?
I don't think I think I forgot to send it to Ethan. So she's clearly trying to read a script, and it said World War II, but obviously she clearly can't read Roman numerals because she gets to it and she's like, and World War XI?
Apparently that's an old clip. Did you know that?
I don't care if it's an old or a new clip. That's sad that she thinks it's World War XI.
It didn't just happen, but it is recirculating now because that's how
the internet works.
Well, I mean, like AOC and like Jasmine Crockett, she is a manufactured candidate of the left. That's what they are. They're put in for DEI reasons, and they are given a script to read. This is how they exist. And they know exactly what to say, minus not being able to read sometimes, to hit certain constituencies and get them to vote for them over and over and over again, when the truth is, between them, if brains were dynamite, they couldn't blow their nose. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. That's a glaring example of it. But anyway, Mark Sutherland, you guys know Mark. He's been on radio in St. Louis for many years. He helps set up the St. Louis Fair and Air Show out here, the St. Louis Air Show every year. He owns Stone Ledge Distillery down in Defiance, and has been promoting that and Stolock Whiskey, which he's owner of for a while. But he is also a representative of the UK. He was born there, and he is in Washington. Where the I don't know if he's going to be in the gallery for the address or not, but King Charles is going to address Congress today. And I don't know what exactly he's talking about. I mean, obviously he and Donald Trump are far apart on the fake issue of global warming and all of this other stuff that he goes around the globe talking about. So I'm not quite sure what he'll be pushing for in Congress, but we're going to try to get Mark on the radio tomorrow with his reaction to whatever it is we heard, whatever we hear later today. And he's volunteered to call in and give us a full report. So for those of you who I kind of quit caring in 1776 or so, but other than that,
I thought you kept up on all that news.
Just the whole royal family thing bores me.
It just feels like it's very fake. So I guess I'll be curious what is said, but it just seems really not random, but kind of random at the same time.
I guess the king is coming here and will not be seeing Prince Harry. They don't even call him Prince Harry anymore, do they?
Don't. I thought they were stripped of that title.
Didn't the president kind of diss his wife the other day? When they asked him about
and I don't
Harry?
even keep up on that. I just know that they refused to leave California or something like that, and they wanted to be separated from, the whole group over there of royals. So then they were stripped of their title, I thought, because
I think that's true. I'm just his dad is in the country and they're not going to get together while they're. I mean, if there's not been a greater example of another Yoko Ono event than this Meghan Markle connection, right? She destroyed that family And I think she did it intentionally, which is really a shame. And I'm not defending him. I mean, they got a lot of problems. There's a lot of inbreeding going on over there. But I'm just saying.
I'm not really sure what to think. Obviously, people have strong opinions about Meghan Markle. It's just a lot of phoniness, I feel like, all the way around. Not just with her. The royal family in general.
What was that show she was in? Was it called Suits?
Suits, yeah. I never watched it.
I watched it. I mean, I thought she had an interesting character in that. She's not a bad actress, I didn't think. But she's a horrible human being.
Well, I bet she wishes she could probably go back to Suits because she, I mean, like her or dislike her, she's taken a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Every article I see
I
is
think
dissing her.
I think she got involved in that family and realized she wasn't going to go back and able to be a B-list actress in Hollywood, and that bothered her, and she wanted to do it, and they basically told her, no, you chose this, and she just started stabbing away at her husband until he finally broke away from his own family. I mean, if you talk about poison, I mean, in my opinion.
I guess. I mean, we don't really know, I guess, what really happened.
Oh, that's what
that's
happened.
what everyone
exactly
seems.
what
Oh, you do?
Yes,
you got
I
the
do.
inside
Just
scoop.
take my word
Did you
for
just get off the phone with Meghan?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
We're tight.
You and Prince Harry? I'm sorry, just Harry now.
Harry,
Hair Bear.
Harry stepped in it. Harry should not have done that. That was crazy. Anyway, coming up, we're going to get to Kim on a whim. A little later, we do have a couple tickets to see Kid Rock. Hey, you know there's a concert coming up at AB, big celebration on the 17th, and nobody will say who the bands are. It's supposed to be some major classic rock band or two. There may be two of them. I'm being told there may be two.
Major?
That's what they said.
People
like
say
a classic
major,
rock.
and then it usually is no one's heard of them.
A classic rock band is supposed to be there, and they won't say who it is. And I've got tickets to Triumph that night, so I can't go. I'll be seeing another classic rock band.
Is it their last tour ever?
First time they've toured in 30 years, and I doubt if it's probably the last one.
I bet.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Glad you can be there for the last one ever.
It's going to be great.
Not.
It's going to be epic. We'll get to Kim on a whim in just a minute.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
I hope you didn't get any damage from the storms yesterday. I know there were reports of some decent-sized hail around Pacific and Eureka. I know they had tornadoes up north and over in the Metro East. If you did get roof damage, though, you need to get it addressed pretty quickly. I was talking to my friend Curtis Correll yesterday of Correll Roofing Co. They're ready to take care of you. If you need a tarp, there will be people who blow into town and drive through neighborhoods after storms like this and offer to put a tarp on your house for some exorbitant price. You don't need to do that. Your insurance company will pay for it. Curtis Correll will come out and take care of it for you and then bill your insurance company for it. So don't get taken in a scam like that. You got to go with somebody you can trust. Curtis is glad to get up on your roof and take a look, see if you had any wind damage or any hail damage. Call him today, 314-222-9529. That's 314-222-9529 or CorrellRoofingCo.com.
I'm Taylor Riggs, and this is the Fox Business Report.
General Motors, Coca-Cola, T-Mobile, UPS, Starbucks, Travel Giant Booking Holdings, and Hilton Worldwide are among many companies reporting earnings today. Michael Lee of Michael Lee Strategy says investors are bracing for major tech earnings, which start coming in tomorrow.
I think you're going to have spectacular earnings. How the market reacts to these is anyone's guess. Last quarter, all these companies blew the doors off, and outside of Google, were met with pretty mixed mixed reviews.
Also today, the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index for February and the Conference Board's Consumer Confidence reading for April. The Federal Reserve meets today and tomorrow. It's expected to be Jerome Powell's last meeting as chair if Kevin Warsh is confirmed to succeed him. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
You're probably listening to this in your car, so let me ask you, would you drive without insurance? Of course not. So why is your retirement portfolio unprotected? Gold is portfolio insurance. It helps de-risk your savings when markets get unpredictable. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands of Americans do exactly that, with no high-pressure sales and thousands of 5-star reviews. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult with your tax or financial professional before making any investment decisions.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We got 44 on the westbound side, some overnight road work in a couple of right lanes here. It's westbound past Antire, and then we've got more 44 westbound around 185 of road work in the left lane there, but no slowdowns associated with that or anything else. This report is sponsored by i3 Broadband. Spring is here. Time to lose that dusty treadmill and your leggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. They're springing forward with their longest price guarantees ever on your gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio to start your spring off right. I'm Trent Erickson at 532 on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, it is warm outside. It is beautiful. It is spring. The birds are chirping. You want to spend more time in your backyard. What are you going to do to improve it? Chesterfield Fence and Deck is there for you. They'll send over an expert who will help you with the design. They'll do that for free. Maybe you've already got in mind what you want. Maybe you want to look at some of their digital photos and kind of pick out some other projects that they've done elsewhere and have them adapt it to your backyard. That's the whole thing about it. Whatever you can imagine, they can do back there. If you just want the deck screened in, they can do that. If you want something more elaborate, like an all-season room, of course they can do that. They can pour a new patio for you with the chimenea on it, or whatever it is you want to put out there, or a chimney. If that makes some people happier, they don't care. Whatever you want to do, they're ready to do it for you, and they will do it with 48 months, same as cash financing. All you need to do is reach out to Chesterfield Fence and let them know you heard Marc Cox talking about it. Let them get over there and give you that free estimate and free project design, which is fantastic. All kinds of great Google reviews and highly rated with the Better Business Bureau. You will love working with them. Tell them Mark sent you. Go online today to chesterfieldfence.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
License number GL2500615.
Hey, it's good to hear you.
Hey, Dad, isn't it good to see ya?
Yep, but with smoke alarms, we need to hear them. If one alarm is downstairs, you might not hear it upstairs.
At school, everyone hears the fire alarm.
That's why we install hardwired smoke alarms that all go off together, just like school.
Smoke alarms done the right way.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
Born in the Midwest, built on common sense. FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative. Kim on a Whim.
Kim on a Whim is proudly brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com.
The Justice Department recommending the return of firing squads and other methods for federal executions. It's part of President Trump's campaign promise of bringing capital punishment to serious offenders like terrorists, child murderers, and cop killers. In a statement, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche criticized the Biden administration for failing to protect Americans, saying the DOJ, quote, is once again enforcing the law and standing with victims.
Well, I had to use that soundbite because we recognize that voice.
Griff.
That's right. Griff,
who you had on yesterday.
We had him on yesterday because he was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and he was recapping what that was like and also detailing security, or maybe lack thereof, because that's been one of the biggest critiques, was why was there not more security? But going back to what he said, he's talking about how the Trump administration is trying to make it easier to use the firing squad. And I didn't realize this until I started going down a rabbit hole that only 5 states authorize the use of the firing squad as a method of execution: Idaho, Mississippi, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Utah.
Wow.
And South Carolina just reintroduced the method. This was 2025, marked the first time it had been used in 15 years. And Idaho authorized it in 2023, but now as of this year, it's going to be the primary method instead of the lethal injection. Because here in Missouri, for example, they've introduced bills trying to get this passed to allow it as an option, but it's failed. So currently the only thing you can do if somebody is sentenced to death, it would be lethal injection or lethal gas, it looks like.
I'm fully in support of this with one modification. You have to require that the shooters are all Democrats because they're bad shots. And that's going to put that seed of doubt in the mind of the person who's about to be executed as to whether or not these people are capable of actually hitting him or not.
Well, and so they all they don't know which one actually has a loaded gun. Isn't that how it works? So you line up several people. They don't know.
Well, they're all loaded. Some of them have blanks. And
okay.
they do,
I thought that for some reason they didn't know which one did or didn't have. They're all taking aim and they don't realize
They've done that
who.
before to alleviate any guilt on the part of the shooters, so they won't know which one actually fired the shot that killed them. But my guess is there are several live rounds if there are still blanks. It would be interesting to know if they still do that. Or why not just give them all a live round, and then you guarantee that even if 4 of the Democrats miss, there's a good chance 3 of them at that distance might hit the individual because they're notoriously bad shots,
Well,
as we've seen recently.
Yes, we have. Thank goodness they have a bad shot.
Exactly.
But, because a number of states will allow the electric chair. I don't know why you wouldn't allow the firing squad. Just doing some research here, it says that the last time the firing squad was used in Missouri was back in 1864.
I don't know what the problem is. It is far more.
Do they think it's inhumane? Is that the issue?
I don't know. It's
is
quick.
the electric chair more humane?
No, I wouldn't think.
If I'm being totally honest with you, if you're convicted of a very, 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 very heinous crime, I'm not so sure I'm worried about is it humane. I don't think that people need. I feel like people think that somebody needs to be, playing them, like get a guitarist or something and strum a song for them as they're about to be put to death. I'm sorry. I'm not saying you should be pulling their fingernails off one by one and torturing him in that way. But I'm not so worried about are they going to feel a little bit of pain? Well, maybe they might. But do you realize what they did? And it's not like this is, you tried to appeal and you lost, okay, you're sentenced to death. The reason why death penalty cases are so incredibly expensive is because they get to, and understandably, exhaust the appeals. Exhaust them. And even and this has happened when they're laying on that bed, about to have the drugs put in them for the lethal injection, you can still get a very last-second Hail Mary and be basically...
Well, you could do that with the firing squad, too.
Well, and any sort of a death penalty.
Trigger.
Right. Any sort of a death penalty situation when you're about to be put to death, the second before it happens,
Remember Old Smoky?
Nope.
That was the nickname for the electric chair in Florida for many years because there was a chance it would malfunction. And every inmate being walked down the Green Mile there to the chair knew there was a chance it might not work properly, which was going to mean a more painful experience for them. And they let that go on for a while because they want the point of having the death penalty is only effective if you use it. And that's the difference in these states. Most of them, even if they still had the death penalty, they came up with some liberal mamby-pamby governor who decided that they're going to do everything they can to avoid instituting it, and therefore it's not a deterrent anymore. If you're not going to carry through with it, it's not going to be a deterrent. The people out there pulling triggers need to understand that if you do this, your life will end. But we don't enforce it in that manner. I've told this story before, Kim, but I covered it death penalty case down in South Carolina as a reporter years ago. This half-wit went to a Walmart and tried to carjack a car, was unsuccessful, ran around back, had a gun he'd stolen from his dad, ran around back and found two young sisters getting out of their car. And he made them kneel on the ground in front of him, and he killed them execution style. It was as clear a case of guilt as anything I've ever seen. And I watched the trial, and during the trial, as we're listening to the evidence, I'm drawing the hangman's noose on my reporter pad, showing it to my then girlfriend, who's now my wife, who was sitting next to me. And I would have been the one to pull the switch in that case. And the guy got convicted, and he was given the death penalty. And that would have been 1992, probably. Fast forward 10 or 11 or 12 years later, I'm working here in St. Louis as a reporter. I get a phone call one day from a group of anti-death penalty lawyers who donate their time to try to save people from this horrible death, even though they've inflicted horrible death on other people, and they're still trying to get this jerk off from this death penalty that he was convicted of and sentenced to. They're trying to ask me if I could remember if he seemed dazed during his trial as a reporter, as I was observing this, and I'm like, you're talking to the wrong guy.
Were they trying
I would
to
pull the switch.
Were they trying? Did you say that?
I did tell him that.
Were you
I
trying?
said I will not be a friendly witness for you.
Was the idea though to say, okay, he wasn't fit to stand trial?
Yeah, well, they were trying to claim that he was on some because he had some mental health issues. There was no doubt about that. But he was a functional human being. He had a job. He was smart enough to know right from wrong. They were trying to argue that he was drugged up during the trial and therefore wasn't capable of defending himself. Well, he never took the stand. His attorneys were the ones defending him. It was the most ridiculous argument I've ever heard. But he was eventually put to death. But it took close to 15 years to get that guy killed.
Oh, that's actually, I feel like short.
I think they should
the average death row. I should look this up because the average time on death row is, I'll guarantee you, it's longer than 15 years.
They should have just given the gun to the girl's dad and let him take care of it a long time ago.
Well, and you talk about deterrent, and that's the issue we have here in St. Louis and across the country where there's not a deterrent. People know that they'll just get a slap on the wrist, so they think, well, it's worth it. Who cares? I won't get caught. If I do get caught, it won't be that bad. So when Biden was in office, he had put this moratorium on it. And he was commuting all of these sentences. In fact, he commuted the sentence, I think it was 37 of them. And that was part of the issue, is that people knew that under his administration, when he was president,
no consequences.
There were not very many consequences. Now, I should mention to you, with this whole firing squad move, supposedly they're having issues also getting enough of the drug for lethal injection. So I believe that played a part in it. So I think it's strengthening the death penalty situation here in the United States. That's part of it. And it's also because they're having a harder time getting access to these drugs. Usually it's 3 drugs that they put, it's like a cocktail, they call it, to do lethal injection. And that's what they'll say is excruciating. They'll say that one of the drugs that they inject, people say, makes you feel like you're burning alive.
Yeah.
But how would you know that if you die? Because once you're injected with it, I don't think that it kind of paralyzes you. You're not able to say, I don't know. I would say I would support this. And I do hope that Missouri can pass something that allows for this to happen. I have no hope for Illinois, but Missouri, there's a chance.
Let's hope. I'll volunteer if they need sharpshooters.
No, I couldn't. I certainly could not. I couldn't even watch it. I remember I told you I got asked to watch an execution. Some guy was getting put to death with the electric chair, and as a journalist,
I was
being offered the opportunity to watch. You have to take notes because then the other journalists come and they ask you, what did you see? It's weird that they interview you. And I just decided I didn't want to do it because I feel like, is there a little bit of curiosity? Yes. But I don't want to see a guy dying by the electric chair and hear him. And I guess the last words he said were, let's rock. I have no regrets on that, of not seeing it. I couldn't do it. I can support it without wanting to actually witness it.
I never had that opportunity. But yeah, I think I would have done it. I'm going to think of a particular case where I would definitely would have done it. All right, interesting there. I had no idea they were bringing that back, which I think is long overdue. As long as they get Democrat shooters, because that leaves the doubt as to whether or not they're going to hit them. All right, coming up, we're going to give away some Kid Rock tickets to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
No major problems out there right now at all, not even any minor ones. We've got some overnight road work working still on 44 westbound, just as past Antire with the 2 right lanes taken out. That should be picked up soon. And then 44 westbound is about for around 185. We've got a left lane down, but the rest of the roadways are moving along at your posted speed limit. I'm Trent Erickson at 546 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, if you are worried that your furnace or your air conditioner are not up to par, you better get it checked before we get to the heat of the summer. So Air Comfort Service is there for you to do that. They'll do the clean and check for you. They don't just check your air conditioner. They check the whole system because they operate together, right? They do. You need the blower motor. You need the coil. You need all that to be working properly for the air conditioner to work, and all that exists inside of the housing of the furnace. So you call Air Comfort Service. They're going to check it all out for you. They do that for me twice a year. I'm part of their preferred partner plan, but you can join that as well. Makes it whole thing a lot easier. Right now, for every one of these they do, for every AC clean and check they do, they're donating a bag of food. That was for the month of April. So you're running out of time here. Call them today. Say, I heard Marc Cox talking about this. I want to see you deliver yet another bag of food down to the Open Door Animal Sanctuary on my behalf, and they will do that for you, because that's the way you want to go when you're looking for quality service and somebody that's been around as many years as Corey Malone and the folks from Air Comfort Service. Their phone number is easy to remember, 314-513-0091, or just check them out online at aircomfortservice.com.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans Annual Golf Tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, carts, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative.
Well, he drags that out, doesn't he? Come on, kid, say it. Kid Rock, there you go. He's coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. They're coming up on May 15th. We've got a pair of tickets every day this week that we're giving away, courtesy of our friends over at Live Nation. If you want to go see him, why don't we take caller number 12 this morning to 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. Caller 12 wins a pair of tickets. We will give away another pair every day this week. I was just bragging, Ethan, yesterday to one of my cousins about, or this over the weekend to one of my cousins about the fact this is going to be the summer of concerts for me.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm pretty proud of it. I'm thrilled, right? I'm going to get to go see Triumph, who hasn't toured in 30 years, on the 17th. I'm going to, of course, see Sammy Hagar, who sold out his concert immediately here and is kicking off his tour right here in St. Louis, as he should. I thought he was done touring. So that was a huge surprise that he's doing one last tour. I thought I was going to have to go to Vegas, which would, twist my arm, to see him in residency. So that was fantastic. Going to go see Rush in June in Chicago, which I can't wait. That's going to be fantastic. And then I've got plans I've already put in the request to buy tickets to AC/DC in the fall. And somewhere in between there, Guns N' Roses is going to be playing at Busch Stadium. Now, I haven't gotten my tickets for that yet, but my assumption is they're not going to sell out Busch Stadium, so there will always be tickets available.
I don't think they did last time.
So I might go at the last minute to that one as well. That is a great lineup of concerts, and Kim will appreciate this. I'm explaining all this to my wife recently. I'm like, man, I got all these concerts coming up. She goes, how come none of those are on the calendar? And I said, well, I just hadn't thought about it. I mean, I have them in my head. She's like, no, those need to be on the calendar so I know when that stuff's coming up. So she'd give me the dates. So I gave her the dates. She writes them all down. Pretty soon I start getting calendar requests.
Yep.
For Mark attends another old white guy might be their last concert. That's what she titled the request for me to approve so she could put it into the calendar.
I mean, she ain't lying.
Because she's just a smart aleck. But, at the end of the day, it's true. Didn't who died this past week? Who was it? Not Dave Matthews. Who died?
I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, he was 78. Sammy Hagar, 78. So any of these guys could drop off at any moment, and if I have a chance to go see them, I'm going to go see them. I did hear a few clips the other day. If my buddy Joe's listening this morning, I did hear a few clips of the very first concert back for Triumph, and it was a little rough.
Oh, yeah.
But by the second or third, I think they had ironed out a few of the glitches, and it was sounding better. But they were a very they sang in the higher octaves when they were touring and popular. And my guess is, like David Lee Roth, they've had to bring in some background singers that can hit those high notes. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
But I would guess that they're not that they're going to struggle a little bit to hit some of the high notes on some of the Triumph songs.
Or do like Bon Jovi when he came, because his voice is shot too.
Well,
when he would hit the high notes, he would just point to the crowd.
He's going on tour again. I saw a clip yesterday on Facebook of them practicing.
Yeah.
And apparently he had some sort of surgery on his vocal cords.
Yeah, his throat was all kinds
to
of messed
correct
up.
something.
Yep.
And apparently he's suggesting that he's going to be sounding better. How about you, Kim? Are you excited about all these old white guy rockers who are coming back this summer?
Because it's their last tour ever, I definitely want to go.
It could be. Now, not Kid Rock. He's young enough that he'll still be around for a while.
You think that he got... I mean, it's Kid Rock. I understand that people knew his name long before the whole TPUSA halftime, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But do you think that helped him, too? That gave him a little bit of a boost?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
No
doubt.
You don't think so, Ethan?
I heard his ticket sales were way down.
Really?
Way down.
You mean because of that? Like some
Just
people
in general,
crazy
people aren't
liberals
going.
who liked Kid Rock no longer wanted to support him because he partnered with TPU. Because I bet you there is an element of that of, wait a minute, he partnered with TPUSA? I no longer like him.
I just heard in general, because he was supposed to do that one concert down in Poplar Bluff and it got canceled. You remember?
Now, it's funny, I'm making this comment about how people would be turned off from wanting to go to one of his concerts because he partnered with TPUSA. But if I heard a musician I liked, for example, partnered with Kamala Harris, maybe I might have some thought. It might impact me, so maybe I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite here.
Speaking of jerks, did you hear Bruce Springsteen yesterday? Did you guys play that bite?
No, what did he say?
He said basically that, he's been pretty rough on the president in the past, but after the shooting, he changed his tune a little bit. Go ahead and play cut 16 if we have time here.
We can be critical of those in power, and we can peacefully fight for our beliefs but there is no place in any way, shape, or form for political violence of any kind in our beloved United States.
Isn't that so sweet of Springsteen, after every single night of every single concert, of standing up and telling people to take to the streets and fight Donald Trump, is suddenly telling people not to take to the streets to fight Donald Trump. An acknowledgement by Bruce Springsteen that he's been fomenting violence. Isn't that nice there? Little late, Bruce. You lost a bunch of us with your garbage that you've been spewing at your. Even Mark Reardon yesterday. I heard Mark Reardon say he's off the Springsteen wagon, and he traveled to Europe a couple years ago to see the guy on tour over there. So there you have it. How about that? All right, coming up in the next hour, we're going to get to the morning brief. We're going to talk about some local news stories here for you. New segment we're starting here on the show. We got John Lamping in as well to give you a wrap-up of what's going on here as we get down to the end of the legislative session. It's all straight ahead on the Marc Cox Morning Show.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from. All that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
The Cards, the Pirates.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 5:40. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property with selective land clearing. Whether it's for a building site, pasture reclamation, hunting, or trail creation, Missouri Brush Control can transform your unusable acreage into accessible and productive property. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. 5-star rated on Google reviews. See impressive before and after projects today at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Tell them Bo Matthews sent you to MissouriBrushControl.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet, first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
He's charged with attempting to assassinate the president. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We have a solid case.
That's U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, and she says more charges will be coming against Cole Allen, the suspected attacker at the White House Correspondents' Dinner Saturday night in Washington.
So we're learning more about the potential planning of the attack. 31-year-old Cole Allen booked his hotel room about 3 weeks before the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And the engineer and teacher made his initial appearance in court yesterday, facing at least 3 criminal counts. So far, he faces 1 count of attempting to assassinate the President of the United States, which could mean up to life in prison, 1 count of transporting a firearm across state lines, and discharging a firearm during a crime of violence.
That's Fox's Alex Hogan. Allen returns to court tomorrow on Thursday. There's a renewed focus on political rhetoric. Senior advisor to First Lady Melania Trump, Mark Beckman, just told Fox
Jimmy Kimmel should be terminated from ABC.
The day after the First Lady posted on X, Kimmel's hateful and violent rhetoric is corrosive. Upset over a Kimmel monologue last week before the White House dinner attack, joking about the Trump's marriage, saying the First Lady has the glow of an expectant widow. Well, Kimmel responded on his show last night that it was not a call to target the president.
Obviously was a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on her face every time they're together. It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am.
Kimmel was suspended briefly last year over comments related to Charlie Kirk's assassination. President Trump is reportedly dissatisfied with Iran's offer to reopen the Strait of Hormuz if the U.S. ends a blockade on its ports and delays nuclear talks. Secretary of State Marco Rubio tells Fox,
I hope that in the aftermath of this conflict, the whole world's eyes have been opened to the threat Iran poses.
Oil prices rising 3% this morning. At the gas pump, a 6-cent surge today. AAA's national average for regular, $4.17 per gallon, the highest price since the Iran conflict started. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Good morning, I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Now, the severe storms have moved out here of the St. Louis area, but still dreary, 59 degrees downtown at 6:03. Thousands are still without power in Missouri and Illinois this morning following yesterday's storms. According to the St. Clair County Emergency Management Agency, at least one tornado touched down in Clinton County, Illinois, and several other possible tornadoes in the area. The National Weather Service will be surveying the damage to try to confirm those. Now, preliminary reports indicate there were winds as strong as 70 miles per hour, for example, in Madison County. Damage is being reported, like I mentioned, across the metro. Multiple buildings collapsed in Florissant. There were also some downed power lines and trees. A tree fell on top of homes in both St. Anne and North St. Louis County and in Belleville in the Metro East. Hail, also an issue. Hail 4 inches in diameter was reported in Washington County. Now, miraculously, in light of all of this, no reports of any injuries. All right, also making headlines, Missouri's Attorney General is suing Dollar General over deceptive pricing. Inspectors visited 147 Dollar General stores here in the state and found dozens of them were charging customers more for an item at the register than the price it was listed on store shelves. In response to that lawsuit, Dollar General says its customers knowingly and intentionally shop, adding that customers can reject items at checkout if the price is different from what was listed. In sports, the Cardinals beat the Pirates yesterday. Final score 4-2. Game 2 in the 4-game series coming up this evening. First pitch, 5:40. Just before 6:05 here on this Tuesday morning, 59 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Watch, we got some emergency vehicles. This is taking out a partial lane here, 55 northbound, right at the Russell exit. And we also have some road work getting picked up, 44 westbound at Antire, 2 right lanes, and then a left lane around 185. That's getting picked up as well, so that won't be in your way any longer. And things are moving well in the rest of the area roadways. This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes. The McKelvey Homes Spring Event is one of the best offers they've had in years. Rates as low as 4.75% and savings of up
up to $124,000 on move-in ready homes. The event ends May 31st. Schedule your tour today at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey. I'm Trent Erickson at 6:05 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We had one cold front come through overnight, a secondary coming through really this evening. So most of today is fine. Partly sunny skies, 72. Couple of showers, couple of thunderstorms, non-severe late this afternoon. Tonight, scattered showers, couple of thunderstorms, not severe, 50. Wednesday, beautiful day, sunny and nice, little breezy, 68. Thursday, sunny, 68 once again. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Cloudy, 59 degrees now, 6:06. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere. All you have to do is download our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Welcome back, 28th day of the month. Boy, did April fly by, I tell you that. Hopefully you recovered and didn't get any serious damage from those storms, but we'll talk more about that coming up. Still some outages and some other problems reported in certain areas from last night. I would say overall, it probably wasn't quite as bad as they were afraid. That doesn't mean that it wasn't bad enough. And a lot of people were, I ducked into a parking garage yesterday on my way back because there were reports of hail coming through Baldwin and Chesterfield. And I haven't done that in a long time, but I pulled into the parking garage at the Galleria and waited for about 20 minutes yesterday in the middle of that storm.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
in case.
That's what's kind of scary. It's like you get caught in this and then you're trying to figure out what to do. And I know some people, if they're driving on a highway, they'll try to get underneath the overpass.
Yeah.
You know, and then everyone's kind of ducking in between. It just gets kind of messy.
I always feel bad for the people on a motorcycle when that happens.
But they had to know.
Let them have the overpass.
But you knew there was a potential for bad weather, and you still opted to. There are some storms that catch you off guard, but don't you think that person knew there was a chance? And I'm not just talking about yesterday. I mean in general when you see them caught in the pouring rain.
I would think that your weather app would be your friend if you rode a motorcycle.
I'd hope so.
Regularly, for sure. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about some other local stories here in just a couple of minutes. John Lamping is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Do you know when Amendment 3 will be on the ballot? Nobody does. It'll probably be November, would be my guess. And how about the income tax and the other things that you're going to be deciding on? The governor still has to decide when these are going to be on the ballot, and we'll talk to John about that coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Also, we're going to talk to Todd Piro. He was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner yesterday. You heard from Griff Jenkins. He was there. We're fortunate to have all of these network TV hosts who join us regularly. Fela was there. You're going to hear some of his comments on a hot mic coming up here during the event that everybody's kind of making a big deal about this morning. So we're going to talk to Piro today. Hopefully we'll have Fela tomorrow, right? And then we'll have Griff again on Thursday and Shannon Bream, who I'm sure was there as well. I think we didn't have Shannon last week, but we think we'll probably have her again this week.
Right.
Anyway, they were all there. I mean, they were all watching this firsthand. Kim, did you see the stories that over the weekend about people stealing bottles of champagne?
Yes, I saw videos of this.
Yeah, and it looked like, they're like, hell, the thing's over with. Look at all these bottles on the table. Let's just grab them and take them. And several media outlets really made a big deal about it. Like, these people are thieves. The thing's over with, and they're stealing bottles. And this morning I heard an interview with the Wall Street, I don't know if it was a Wall Street Journal, a reporter who was there, who said, no, wait a minute. The staff came over to us afterwards and said, you guys paid for this. For each organization that bought a table, it came with X bottles of either wine or champagne or whatever that was. Take it, because if you leave it here, it's just going to be disposed of because you've already paid for it. So that's why they were grabbing those bottles and leaving with them, apparently.
It was pretty, until we had the context, though, it was pretty funny because the video I saw was a woman who looked like she was shoving multiple bottles of champagne in her jacket like it was some heist or something. And the funniest thing is that gentleman who's just sitting there eating his food, it's like chaos in the ballroom. And he's
you notice that?
Not even phased.
Like on the left side of that picture of the ballroom, the shot from the left, where the podium is on the left side, and then you can see all the tables out there. It's zoomed in on the president and Melania and the mentalist, and you see the look of shock on their face, and everybody starts looking toward the door. And the cameraman zooms out to the full room. You see him take the president off the podium. Everybody else ducks below the table. All these journalists on the floor are laying down and getting below the table. And I don't know who this guy was, but there's this one old dude. He looks like he's 80 years old. He's sitting in the back with his, like, facing the door. And he just keeps eating his salad. It's just either he was oblivious to what was going on, or he's Cool Hand Luke, one of the two. He just didn't care.
Do you think he's like a war correspondent that's been, you know what I mean?
Maybe this is nothing compared to what I've seen.
He was just like, whatever.
I don't know who he was, but he was completely unconcerned with what was going on in that room. We need to find that guy and get him on the radio.
Oh gosh, I'm pretty sure they identified him.
Oh really?
Yeah. I think I saw some article about
that,
and now I'm blanking on where I saw it.
Yeah. Cool Hand Luke. That's what that guy was. I couldn't believe it. Everybody else would have been freaking out just a little bit over that, for sure. All right, we'll get to all that for you coming up here in just a minute. Right now, Ethan, welcome back, and let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
I love that they have like two random chicks holding the front door open. We're not even trying anymore. It's not even like, I just mean like they're not even like Secret Service people. It's like the girls who work here are holding the door.
We got to get Fela's comments on that yesterday. They caught him on a hot mic. The camera was live on him, and he's suggesting that security was not quite up to par, that they had a couple of cocktail waitresses holding the door at the front for people to come in. There's going to be more focus on that this week as to what really happened here. The guy really ran right through security, and what's going to change on that going forward? You have to ask yourself.
Now they know, they've lived it in their own flesh, the fear that our school children go through. Yes. Now they know what it's like to have to jump under a table the way that school children jump under a desk.
What a horrible human being, Anna Navarro of The View. There's no depths to which they won't go to somehow suggest with more gun laws you could have avoided this. The guy bought the guns in California. Nobody in the world has tighter gun laws, I don't think, than the state of California. I mean, seriously.
We are investigating this matter fully. We will apply the law fairly, and we will ensure that accountability is swift and certain.
Yeah, that's...
But we also should recognize what did not happen. Law enforcement did not fail.
That is, of course, Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general, yesterday commenting on the shooting and complimenting how the Secret Service and other organizations responded. That delay is the host's fault.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Kimmel and his favorite line from a couple of nights ago, leading up to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And here's the thing about this jerk. Instead of coming out immediately after the First Lady lambasted him for what he did, he's completely in denial. He's got such Trump derangement syndrome, Jimmy Kimmel, the scum, that he had to come out and double down on what he said and now claim that it was just a joke. Joking about a woman wanting to be a widow 2 days before somebody tries to make that a reality he's numb to the power of his words. Who's to say that it wasn't some joke or comment by Jimmy Kimmel that drove this guy to his insanity to begin with?
Did you hear why he said he made the joke? He said it. He said it was an age joke. He said because Trump's, 79.
Well, of course
and he says
that
Melania
now.
is younger than him, and so the joke is that there's such a big age gap between them. So clearly, she will be at some point a widow. That was his reasoning, and I'm not saying it was a good joke. That's what he's trying to argue.
Yeah,
I can understand where he's going with that. I still don't think it was a good joke to make.
Not appropriate, as it wouldn't be appropriate with Erica Kirk either. He's probably made that joke if we go back and look, because he hates conservatives. He doesn't think they should exist, and now he's backpedaling and acting like he did. Listen,
laughing at that. They were. Do you get it? Do you understand? This isn't Kimmel being funny. This is wish casting. This is dreaming. This is hoping. This is Jimmy Kimmel trying to will into existence the death of Donald Trump.
Yes, that's exactly what it was, and there's no other way around it. It didn't take long to assemble the hateful comments. We know what they are. They're still in denial about it. But here's just a sample of that. Listen.
And you have, as many of your fellow Democrats, have used some heated rhetoric against the president. And do you think twice about that when something like this happens?
What rhetoric do you have in mind?
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
President Trump attended the opening night of Chicago at the Kennedy Center, and I think that's cool that the president is going to the theater. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
We don't back down. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high. We take them to the mud and choke them out.
We are in an era of maximum warfare. Everywhere, all the time.
Yep. You recognize those voices, I'm sure. Constant. It's a constant drumbeat of negativity and hate on the part of the left in this country. Exclusively the left when it comes to wishing death on Donald Trump. And they're in complete denial about it this morning. It is a sad, sad situation for sure. All right, we'll be back with the morning brief in just a minute. John Lamping at the bottom of the hour.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
170 on your southbound side. Watch at St. Charles Rock Road. You've got a stalled vehicle off on the right side. Traffic signal problem on 55 at Russell Road, so expect some backups in that area. And then 44 westbound at Antire and also at 185. You've got some road work just getting cleared from the overnight. I'm Trent Erickson at 618 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, if you had tree damage last night, if the strong winds, I heard there were 70-mile-an-hour winds in some places. If that took down a tree branch or a tree, for that matter, only one place to call. That's Hanson's Tree Service, 636-379-1830. Listen, these guys are the pros. Chad Hansen and his employees out there helped clear a lot of those massive trees that came down during the tornado over a year ago, and they're ready to help you as well. They've got the equipment to get it done. They're not one of these people with a magnetic sticker on the side of their truck driving down the street. They can get cranes out there. They can get it done right, and when they're finished, you're not even going to be able to tell there was anything there except for maybe a brown spot on the ground. They will take the root, they'll take all of it for you and get it taken care of. And guess what? They take that wood back to their facility out there in St. Charles County. They turn it into mulch, right? So if you're looking for mulch, they'll deliver mulch right to your driveway. You pick the consistency. All the prices are right online. You can check them out. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. It's hansonstree.com.
I'm John Morgan. There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Reason number 3. First, all lawyers are not the same. If my family had an injury case and I couldn't hire us,
there are only about 3 to 4% of the lawyers out there that I would hire. And here's why. Most of them rarely, if ever, go to trial. They just take the last best offer. Hell, you can do that yourself. Do this. If you're looking for a lawyer, Google Morgan & Morgan results and see what comes up. It may shock you. Then Google the firm you're thinking of hiring and do the same. That may shock you as well. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. We won a lot. $30 billion and counting. Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com. Who would I hire? I'd hire us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
St. Louis Morning Brief.
All right, so this is our new segment called St. Louis Morning Brief, where we're taking a deeper dive into some of the headlines, because you hear me talking about them at the top of the hour, but these are stories that are impacting you, that people will be talking about throughout the day, so we want to make sure that you are up on what's going on. The big story being, of course, the storms. I know, Mark, I was in the basement 3 times yesterday throughout the day with all the sirens going off.
Yeah, well, I was driving back from my trip to Kentucky, and we were a little worried as we were heading into it. We went through several variations of the storm, right? First a little bit of rain, then heavy lightning and rain, and then as I'm coming into the Metro East, I don't know what time it was, 2 o'clock, something like that. Of course, they had the tornado warnings had just been issued during Annie's show for Madison County and St. Clair County. And thank goodness. I mean, Annie did a great job yesterday kind of detailing where those issues were. And they had Dave Murray on several times, which was helpful. But it was mostly just to the north of 64 there in O'Fallon as we were coming in. And then I hit another round of them when I got across the river, which is why I jumped into the parking garage at the Galleria briefly, because I thought, sure, we were headed into, 1.25 inch, 2-inch hail, and then that went just a little bit north as well.
Yep. It was just north of the St. Charles area where we live, which I'm so thankful we didn't have any impact from this, really, aside from just rain and a little bit of hail. But I know several of you have had damage. We had trees falling on cars, on some buildings. Now, if you are in St. Louis County, that appears to be the most heavily impacted area as far as power outages still this morning. I'm looking at Ameren's map, and it says just over 20,000 customers are still without power right now in St. Louis County. St. Louis City, just over 300. If you're in the Metro East, there are still thousands as well across that area who are without power. And I mentioned this in headlines. The St. Clair County Emergency Management Agency is saying there was a tornado. And we know that in Madison County, for example, some of the spotters that can pick up some of these wind speeds, they were detecting wind speeds of up 70 miles per hour, I should say. Now, that would probably be just looked at as straight line winds, but
sure.
we know that can do significant damage.
Well, and it takes down power lines. I mean, our friend Richie texted in this morning on Facebook that he was without power all night. Long night without power. He lives in North County, so I know he was. That's the area he lives in. It was hit kind of hard by that, but they had outages reported in Huntley. I mean, a lot of different areas with the high winds. If you're not in an area where the power lines were buried when they built the houses years ago, you're at a higher risk for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And, the Post-Dispatch is also reporting that there were a handful of building collapses in Florissant. We know trees were falling on cars, for example, in St. Anne near Union. The hail was a really big factor, too. They were predicting, I think I saw was certainly golf ball size hail, but I thought there were some concerns about baseball size hail. I didn't hear anything like that.
No,
I heard
it, but
golf ball size hail. Now, the hail size in Washington County, they're saying, was as big as 4 inches in diameter.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the funniest memes I saw yesterday was apparently there's a running joke on local media that when Steve Templeton starts
I know what you're
folding
saying.
his sleeves up, that things are getting serious. There was somebody did an AI photo of him with no shirt on.
I saw that.
And heavily muscled, pointing
like
at
the
the
Hulk.
screen. It said, things are going bad when you see this on St. Louis TV. It was pretty funny.
Well, he had the wife beater thing on, and I
Yeah,
didn't know
one
if
of
that.
them had a
I don't
he had
know.
a wife
I
beater
assume
on
that
one of
was
them.
all AI too. I can't imagine
Of
Steve
course.
Templeton taking off his shirt.
Of course it was.
But yeah, no. I mean, they're all wall to wall because they have to be, and people get so angry about that. But you are quite literally required. If there is a warning in your area, you have to be on the air.
Well, what did you miss yesterday? At least there were no major sporting events on that you were deprived of.
But people get mad about soap operas, and I remember getting calls like that into the newsroom. But
people used to get mad when there was some breaking news of some sort, and they didn't get to watch a NASCAR race, the good old boy round and round. They'd get heated calling into the newsroom.
Oh, I remember. People would be screaming at you.
So mad.
There were some fallen trees that caused a gas leak at a local businesses. This happened in Ferguson. So this is the issue. And, a lot of these municipalities, this was one of the first times they were testing their new siren system. You had St. Louis City, remember, that had the whole with the deadly tornado last May, and they changed up the protocol. They fired the person who thankfully, should have been fired because she
dropped the ball.
Completely dropped the ball.
Yes.
But even in, for example, in the Metro East, a number of these municipalities were realizing that their old siren system wasn't effective. So this was kind of the first go around to make sure. So I'd be curious if you want to tell us where you live and what your experience was like on our text line 314-241-9797. Did you hear it going off? Was it matching up with your phone? Because of course I'm getting the phone alert and I'm also seeing that, when I'm popping up.
They need to have those zoned. I would argue that. I mean,
instead
of
like
put out
a
tornado warning for St. Charles County. They knew the tornado had been spotted north St. Charles County by the city. So in other words, if you live down in Weldon Springs or Cottleville, that wasn't where it was spotted. But the sirens were going off at 94 and 40 when I got off the interstate there yesterday. So I think they could zone them better than they do. But, at least it made you look. The point is it got your attention. Mm-hmm. And they were loud enough that you could hear them inside of your house.
Well, they've talked about that of like how far do they have these sirens going off? Because sometimes if you don't put them in a broad enough area, then it's too late. And then by the time you hear them going off, it's right there on your doorstep.
Yeah.
So I thought the idea was that you would have them going off on a broader area.
I think they could zone. Why set off the one at 94 and 40 when the tornado was in St. Charles City?
Well, maybe that's a question we need to get, have an official on the show and ask him about. So anyway, I'd just be curious what your experience was like. Like I said, I was down in the basement 3 different times and I'm in St. Charles County, but I can't believe despite the damage, and there were some pictures I saw that showed some decent damage from yesterday's storms, no injuries. That's pretty miraculous because I think everyone here in the St. Louis area gets a little bit more nervous in light of what happened last May. And
occasionally something happens that draws you back to having some fear of it. You can get kind of numb to it after a while. Same with the hurricanes, I'm sure, in Florida. All right, coming up, we'll get to former Senator John Lamping here in just a couple of minutes, and we're talking about when the ballot initiative petition issue might be on the ballot, November or August, and also the pro-life amendment, Amendment 3. We don't know when that's going to be on the ballot yet either. We'll talk about all that for you coming up.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
License number GL250000615.
We've seen all kinds of clogs, so remember the rule. Only flush 3 things. Number 1, number 2, and toilet paper.
What about my dinosaurs?
No.
My monster truck?
Nope.
What about...
If it's not the big 3, don't flush it.
But if someone does flush a dinosaur...
Call Grasser. We clear the clog and get things moving again.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Well, if you're on the social media for AVRV, or if you follow them on Twitter like I do, Apache Village RV, you would have seen my smiling face on there the other day. My wife and I took a photo when we were out on the trial run in our new camper because we bought it from the folks at Apache Village RV there. Their brand new location, which is just south of I-70 near Highway K in O'Fallon, Missouri. Of course, the original location is still there in Hazelwood near Lindbergh and 270. But you got to see this new facility. If you love going to the RV show, This is like a miniature RV show. 300 new and used RVs, from the Class A's down to those little pull trailers. And they've got them all. They've got everything you could imagine, all the big manufacturers, Keystone and Fleetwood and Forest River, Jayco. If you can imagine it, they probably got it on their lot, new or used. Whatever you're looking for, go check them out. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. It is avrv.com.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Watch, we got some traffic signals out on 55, the northbound at Russell Road. It looks like we've got the traffic signal issue. It's calling a right shoulder out, which is an oddity, but just watch yourself in that particular area. 170 southbound at St. Charles Rock Road. We've got a stall just clearing out of that right lane. Otherwise, things are moving pretty well. 55 is building a bit, getting a little heavy on your northbound side from Weber on up to Virginia. Nothing on your southbound side. That's just through the work zone. I'm Trent Erickson at 631 on 97.1 FM Talk.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Michael's Flooring Outlet's got everything you might not even know you need. How can I put it that way? They've got flooring that is new. They've got flooring that is timeless. Whatever you think you need in your house, go talk to them because they've got people who've been doing this for 30 years. Mike's going on 30 years in business up there with his 3 stores, and he's got people who've been around the business long enough to know that what you walk in the door wanting may not be what you end up leaving with, because they're going to let you know this is a high traffic area. Are you sure you want that kind of carpet there? Let me look at this waterproof flooring. Whatever it happens to be, they've got so many great products and so many ideas. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, they've got a do-it-yourself desk. And if it's in stock, you might get it installed the next day. We are 4-time customers of Michael's. And I'm just going to tell you, you got to include them in your shopping if you're out looking for flooring, because they're there in Old Town St. Peters, they're in Darden Prairie off Highway N, they're in West County there off of Olive. Be sure and tell them Marc Cox sent you when you go in the door. Just go to igotfloor.com. Marc Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, as they show you how to create a worry-free retirement. It's Tuesday, April 28th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and would like to know how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the investment strategy that gives you market growth while avoiding the market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get your free personalized retirement income plan? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free and have a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw. It's at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
From St. Peters to Smithton, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction.
People keep looking to government for the answer, and government's the problem. Government would shut the doors and sneak away for about 3 weeks. We'd never miss them.
Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want?
We've got John Lamping back on the phone, former Missouri senator, friend of the show, and great to have him back. John, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Nice to be with you.
Absolutely. You know, I was thinking about this the other day. I had the opportunity to MC the March to the Arch on Saturday. Beautiful weather, a great group of people that showed up down there to show their support for life. And Amendment 3 was talked about a lot. And we also don't know exactly when we're going to get to vote on that yet because the governor will get to make that decision. Am I correct about that?
That's right. The governor will decide when a ballot initiative works its way through the legislature, then he decides. And he has until May 22nd, is my understanding, and he makes a choice. Since we last spoke last week, the legislature, the House actually picked up what the Senate had passed specific to the ability to eliminate the income tax, and they passed it as is.
Yeah.
And we've got these two. These are two very significant decisions that the public has to make. Obviously, organized groups on both sides of the issue will be out in earnest spending. It's going to be tens of millions of dollars spent, and I'll be really curious to see what the governor decides. To have both. Traditionally, you would think both these issues. Certainly, the pro-life issue is a Republican issue, and you would think eliminating the income tax is a Republican issue, though I'm not quite sure if it's going to fall down that way so specifically. So the challenge is can you get your message out if there are two issues on the ballot at the same time? And so I'll be really curious to see what he decides.
I would think there'd be a benefit to having Amendment 3 on the November ballot. Do you agree with that, or do you think there's a reason to maybe put it on in August?
Well, I think traditionally there would definitely be the reason to do it, because sadly August is the primary election, and there's no compelling reason to get out to vote for. I'm sure there's some state Senate races or some House race that looks interesting at the primary level, but that doesn't get out the statewide vote. So traditionally you would put both of them on the November ballot, but it's going to be an interesting decision. I'm inclined to think he's going to go November for both, but that complicates things tremendously because you have two big groups organized, spending money, raising money. Do they coordinate? Even though they're two unrelated issues, they're both targeting kind of the same people. The question would be is if you put one. I think the income tax will almost certainly be in November without a doubt. It's been interesting to watch that. Kehoe suggested to the world that was what he ran on, though I don't think he ran so specific. It wasn't so specific when he ran that he was running on that. And I actually think that what they're putting before the voters, I guess, has the opportunity, in some mind, to be an easier path. But there's no specificity as to how this thing is going to work. So it won't be hard for the people that want to keep the income tax. It won't be hard for them to frame that decision as, well, do you really trust government to decide? Because that's essentially what the initiative says. It says, we'll let the legislature decide if they can eliminate the income tax and what it is they choose to tax more of. So that's a challenge. And then the pro-life side, it's going to be a very heavy lift. The pro-life side just barely failed last time. You would think that they'd be able to get it across the finish line because it's not a complete ban on abortion, but it makes for an interesting the next 6 months will be very interesting to watch both campaigns at work.
Well, it will, and then there's initiative petition reform on top of that, right? That's the third issue that we need to get. We want good voter turnout for that because you want good representation on that issue. Have you heard anything on that one?
Well, I think that'll almost certainly again be in November, but. Again, it's such an interesting thing because obviously when you take the time, when the public takes the time to understand why it is that the way we do constitutional amendment changes, wherein we only need 50% vote to change our Constitution, which is it's the lowest threshold you can have. It's much lower than the federal Constitution, obviously, but that when you take the time to explain to somebody why it's important that we raise it, they understand and they think, well, that does make sense. It's way too easy and it makes for a very a very large Constitution. But in a campaign, when you say to the public, the legislature, the corrupt legislature, wants to take away your ability to dictate policy. Then the public stops and thinks, yeah, I don't trust the legislature, and quite frankly, I don't trust the legislature. So we could easily go. I think we could win all three of these things. Meaning, if you want reform, if you want income tax reduction, elimination, you want the pro-life initiative, but I could see it go the other way too. And so again, if you decide to put one of these on in August, it really changes the nature of the campaigns. If they put the pro-life initiative in August, it would be a huge get out the vote on both sides, and that's all that election would be about.
Yeah, it would condense the timeline for sure. And I'm already worried on the pro-life issue about the where the funds are coming from for the yes on 3 side. I know where the funds are going to come from the no on 3 side. I just wonder if we have enough grassroots people ready to put their money where their mouth is to compete in a short 3-month period. If the governor waits till May 22nd, you have about less than 3 months before that election would happen in August.
Well, obviously, money's being raised now,
right,
and every effort will be made to spend it judiciously. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be an issue where the money we're going to be outspent by multiples, and it's going to take a real true effort on the part of the voters to know themselves that it's time to go vote for this thing.
Wow.
If they rely on because it's just it's too easy for the other side to access tens of millions of dollars because of the nature of the issue.
Sure.
So yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and on some level, August is also if you look at what media you can buy, it's a lot cheaper media, obviously, in August than it is in November. But I'm really curious. I know that what's happening is you have to you basically have to plan for an August ballot campaign, because it could be, and then if you find out that it's not, then it's easier to say then okay, fine, then we'll campaign all the way to November. But it's harder to do the other way if you plan on November and you cut it short. If the time is cut short abruptly, it would make a lot of sense for the governor has again until the 22nd of May. But the legislature, I think, ends a week before. I don't understand why he's not just coming out and letting people know.
The money that would be raised for the no on Amendment 3, so they're the pro-abortion side, a lot of that will probably be from out of state, like it typically is, right? I thought there was an effort in Missouri to make it where that was not okay. Where I know there are ways around that they'll figure out foreign. Okay, I was going to say I know there are ways that they'll figure a way to get the money in, but
yeah, if somebody is I think foreign born. Was that what it was? That it would restrict that, but I mean, there's so many ways around that.
Right.
As we saw with USAID, the money is so fungible; it goes into these NGOs and comes out the other end, and Lord knows where it goes. Right, John?
Yeah, no. There's the ability to circumvent campaign finances. It's a fine dark art.
Yes.
And there's no doubt. I mean, at the end of the day, it will be. If it's 5 or 10 million raised on the pro-life side, it'll be 50 million that'll come from somewhere on the other side. And that's the other thing too, is that not even a tiny. I mean, I think a tiny percentage of that money comes from Missourians. Like the Missourians who are pro-choice, the amount of money that they're asked to donate and to raise for this effort is a fraction of what the pro-life side takes it upon themselves. What happens is there's obviously we have national pro-life organizations, but the vast majority of the raise has to come from Missourians, and the other side is not burdened by that. They can rely completely on outside groups, and yeah, it's an evil. Obviously, it's an evil thing that we all believe, but it's so complicated by these. I mean, the income tax reduction is a very complicated, nuanced message that has to be understood by the voters. If it's not understood by the voters, they're going to vote no for it, and that's Keogh's top priority. Now, having said that, Mike is a very long game guy. He's been in front of plenty of ballot initiatives that have failed. I mean, he twice went to the ballot on a fuel tax. It failed both times. It didn't stop him from pursuing other means. So he's got the personality to kind of, a lot of people in politics hate to lose, and he's got a personality that says, okay, well, we'll take a shot at it this way, and if it doesn't work this time, then we'll see what happens next time. But still, I'm concerned that it's two top priorities for all of us that may be competing for the focus of our electorate, and it might be a difficult thing to actually have happen.
Well, we have the governor scheduled on for later this week, so we'll ask him those exact questions. John, thank you.
Perfect. I'll be listening. Take
All right.
care.
See you later. Appreciate that. Yeah, we'll get to Governor Kehoe on here and see if we can nail him down on when he's going to make a decision on. Those are all big, major puzzle pieces of putting that together, like on the Amendment 3 issue, because in November, in this midterm, the crazed left will be whipped into a frenzy with hopes of stripping Donald Trump of some of his power. Now, in Missouri, they aren't going to have much luck with that. But in other states, I mean, we know that. But I think voter turnout will be much higher in November because it's a midterm. So if you do it in August, then you reduce that turnout a little bit, I guess, would be the logic of doing it then. I don't know.
That was why I was
see all the
thinking
elections
November.
move to November.
Yeah.
Frankly. But that is the primary. August is the primary election for a lot of these offices. So, all right, quick break here. We're going to get to another news show when we come back in just a couple minutes. Next hour, Mark Walters, anxious to get his thoughts after this White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting on the method that this individual used to try to circumvent security up there and what the implications are of that. We'll talk to Mark at about 7:37. We'll be right back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We got 70 westbound, a stall on the ramp to Bryan. The exit ramp, the left lane on that exit ramp is blocked. We've also got traffic signal problems 55 at Russell Boulevard, and then 170 southbound. They're clearing a stall out around St. Charles Rock Road out of that right lane. Some delays on 55 started to fill in a bit, pretty heavy as a matter of fact, in from Bayless on up northbound on 55 up to about Virginia, and then the northbound side of 270 starting to fill in a little bit right around Gravois, and then again approaching Manchester. This report is sponsored by the Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Trent Erickson at 647 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Let's talk Lit Cigar Lounge for just a minute. I'll be heading out there again soon, I'm sure. But if you haven't been to Lit, I just have to tell you, they got all kinds of great events there all the time where they're doing tastings and they're doing special events with different wines and special cigars and all of that you can check out. I know coming up on May 8th, which is a Friday, they're going to have another grand opening of their VIP room because they're rebranding it the Diamond Crown Lounge, mainly because of a great award that Lit Cigar Lounge has received. They've gotten the prestigious designation of being a J.C. Newman Diamond Crown Lounge. So they're going to rename their VIP lounge after that. Here's the great deal for you on all that. They're going to have food. They're going to have live music with Charles and Nikki Glenn that night. They're going to have somebody there from J.C. Newman as well, and lots of great deals on the Diamond Crown items that they're going to be bringing with them and cigars. So it should be a great night. That is Friday, May 8th at Lit Cigar Lounge. It's in the Valley. If you haven't been down there, very near the factory in the district, you can go check them out. Great bar selection. Just put Guinness on tap, which is fantastic. They have live music every Friday night, and it is family owned and operated. And get to know them by name. Say hello to Brian and Dana and Andrew and all of them when you go down there. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Go online to litstl.com.
What's happening now
He appears to reference a motive.
is happening here.
He writes this quote, administration officials, they are targets.
It doesn't happen to people that don't do anything. We're going to continue to do a great job.
97.1 FM Talk.
The Cards, the Pirates. Siteman Cancer Center game time 5:40. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer. The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
If you're trying to sell your home, there's only one group of agents in town I trust. Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Check out thegelmanteam.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
How long do you think you could hold your breath for underwater, realistically?
I don't know, minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Really? 2 minutes?
I'm sure, I don't know, minute
That's
and a half.
pretty long.
Well, as my wife would be glad to tell you, I have a large lung capacity. So I'm sure I could do it for a little while.
Some Croatian freediver, whose name I cannot pronounce, just broke the world record for the longest human breath hold with a stunning... I almost can't even believe that I'm reading this to you.
How is it? Who's reporting this?
This is Yahoo.
Because
29 minutes and 3 seconds. They're saying almost 5 minutes longer than the previous record that had been set back in 2021.
Wow. And how deep was, is it a he? Yeah.
It's a he.
Vitamar Maricek.
Nice.
Thank you.
Says his record was oxygen assisted, and let me clarify what that means, meaning that he was able to breathe pure oxygen for several minutes before making his attempt.
Okay.
I was about to say, because don't you hold your breath, you get like brain damage if
Wouldn't
you don't.
you
I would
pass out? And if you pass out underwater, what happens then? I'm sure there were people all around him with masks.
Funny how the Yahoo article has to make this little note here. It says, while the record doubles the maximum breath hold of bottlenose dolphins and even rivals some seals, it still falls way short of many other marine mammals. Well, yeah, I think so. If you live underwater, I would hope you could hold your breath for longer than 29 minutes and 3 seconds. Thank you, Yahoo.
Speaking of needing to hold your breath, somebody else fell off a boat, a cruise ship.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
Was she drunk or on drugs?
Well, it was a crew member, apparently.
Still a valid question.
From the Norwegian. I mean, they were going up the coast of the U.S. from Bermuda up to Boston, and they set off the alarm pretty immediately. Somebody saw the person, the man, go overboard, and they circled back around and started looking. They were 12 miles off the coast of Cape Cod. So it's not like, they jumped off to try to swim to shore. And I don't know if it was intentional or not. It doesn't say. Somebody saw the guy fall off. Maybe he got thrown off.
Aren't there cameras everywhere? Couldn't you get a better idea of what really happened?
I would think. Yeah. But I don't. They didn't offer any of that video.
How long does it take a cruise ship to be able to get somebody
to
back
turn
on
around?
board?
Yeah,
to turn around and get you. Oh my gosh.
It takes a while to turn around.
I would think so.
Makes you think it was intentional.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. Did you hear that Melania Trump has added more beehives? First of all, I didn't even know that the White House had a beehive, but apparently they do. But she's adding this new hive that's in the shape of the White House, which is really cool.
So they took the king and queen to see it yesterday. Apparently the president took a walk.
The queen bee or the
nice. They took King Charles on a walk around the east area there in the lawn, and they showed him the beehive. I assume they didn't get too close. Is that the one that's shaped like the White House?
It's shaped like the White House. It says
That's
the honey's
pretty cool.
used not only at the White House, but it's also used as donations for local food kitchens.
Well,
there you go.
It's nice that they do. Those bees aren't going to bother anybody. Plus, you need them for pollination and all that.
It says they have thousands of bees producing about 30 pounds of honey a year. at the White House.
We have some friends who started putting beehives in their backyard. And my wife told them, I'm never coming to your house again.
My husband wants beehives so bad. And I'm terrified of, he's scared of bees too. I'm terrified of bees, but he wants the honey. We want to be able to package the honey and then have it for us and to sell it.
Yeah. Okay.
I got friends in high school that did that.
And how many times did they? I know beekeepers, and they got stung a bunch of times.
Yeah, I'm sure they did, but that's what they're doing. They're selling honey now.
And they make a lot of money?
I mean, he's got a lawn care business too, so.
So the answer is no.
Oh, there's always, I don't know. So here's the deal. Get this story. It's New York Post is reporting this. A father whose wife was expecting their second child got gored to death because he decided to run with the bulls on the street of hell. My guess is if the bull hadn't gotten him, she might have gotten him when he got home. I hate to be crude about that, but what a dumb thing to do.
Don't they say at least one person gets seriously injured every year from that run thing they do?
Yes.
But how many times do people die? This has to be kind of rare.
So there's video of it. The guy threw him up in the air. Santiago Barrero San Romain. He was the guy that died. The bull throws him up in the air, and then when he landed, it repeatedly attacked him with its horns. And, of course, he had chest damage, and, I mean, it hit him a number of times. It was brutal to watch.
That's awful.
Oh,
and
I know.
You said he's a dad, too?
He leaves behind his daughter and his pregnant wife, Vanessa. Now, he's a well-known local, I guess, rancher there.
It's tragic enough that the kids are without their father and the wife, but then the way he died is just awful. Having to tell people that, oh, my gosh.
Yeah. That is a horrible, horrible story, but a horrible position to put yourself in to begin with, I think. Yeah. Coming up, Todd Piro. He was at the White House dinner on Saturday night. We're going to get him live here at about 7:20. Stay tuned.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit ThrottleNet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
The cost of living is going up, Social Security is going down, and who knows where the stock market is going. There are a lot of things you can't control about retirement, but there's one thing you can. You can call the team at Ricken Financial. Their focus has always been preserve what you have and build a paycheck that comes in every month. Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation meeting. 314-207-6211 or at rickenfinancial.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
When someone hears the words, "You have cancer," it's one of the darkest moments in their life. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer by uniting survivors, patients, and supporters in the cause to end cancer. Friends, families, and coworkers form a community of hope, raising funds in support of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Together, we walk with lanterns held high to light the path to cures. Last year alone, the FDA approved 18 new drug therapies and treatments to treat blood cancers. The impact of LLS-supported research goes beyond blood cancer. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. When we walk, cancer runs. Join the movement to end cancer today. Visit us at lightthenight.org.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Jimmy Kimmel under a lot of scrutiny from the right again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Months after he was suspended from his ABC late night talk show over comments after Charlie Kirk's assassination.
ABC needs to determine, is this the type of person and violent rhetoric that it wants to affiliate with?
Senior advisor to the First Lady, Mark Beckman, on Fox, the morning after Melania Trump called Kimmel corrosive with hateful and violent rhetoric, upset over a joke last week before the White House Correspondents' Dinner attack, saying she has the glow of an expectant widow. Kimmel responded last night.
It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not, by any stretch of the definition, a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence.
The accused attacker Saturday night, Cole Allen, will appear in court again Thursday. He's charged with attempting to assassinate the president and 2 other counts, but U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro says,
make no mistake, this is just the beginning of this indictment, of these charges. The indictment will include a lot more charges.
The U.S. military stopped another oil tanker, enforcing that blockade on Iran's ports. Iran's demanding that be lifted and nuclear talks be delayed for it to allow open shipping again in the Strait of Hormuz. But Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reports from Dubai.
While hundreds of ships remain stuck at anchor in the Persian Gulf, the first liquefied natural gas carrier from right here in the UAE did transit the Strait of Hormuz recently. It's the first LNG carrier to transit the Strait of Hormuz since the beginning of the war 2 months ago.
Oil prices are rising this morning, and at the gas pump, another surge overnight. AAA's national average for regular at $4.17 a gallon is a new high since the conflict started. And as jet fuel prices surge,
budget airlines are asking the Trump administration for $2.5 billion in government assistance. The Association of Value Airlines, which includes Frontier and Avelo, are calling it, quote, a necessary and targeted measure.
That's Fox's Carly Shimkus. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250, micro, to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
A dreary start here to this Tuesday morning, 59 degrees and cloudy, 7:03. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. Thousands are still without power in both Missouri and Illinois this morning following yesterday's storm. According to the St. Clair County Emergency Management Agency, at least one tornado touched down in Clinton County, Illinois. Now, several other possible tornadoes. The National Weather Service will be working to confirm those. Preliminary reports, though, indicate there were winds as strong as 70 miles per hour, at least in Madison County. Damage still being reported, though, across the metro, including supposedly multiple buildings that collapsed in Florissant. There were also some downed power lines and trees. For example, a tree fell on top of homes in both St. Anne and North St. Louis County and in Belleville, the Metro East. Hail was also an issue yesterday. Hail 4 inches in diameter was reported in Washington County. Now, miraculously, in spite of all of this, no reports of any injuries. All right, also making headlines this morning, Missouri's Attorney General is suing Dollar General over deceptive pricing. Inspectors visited 147 Dollar General stores here in the state and found dozens of them were charging customers more for an item at the register than the price that was listed on store shelves. In response to this lawsuit, Dollar General says its customers, quote, knowingly and intentionally shop, adding that customers can reject any items at checkout if the price is different from what was listed. All right, moving on to sports. Cardinals beat the Pirates yesterday, 4-2 the final score. Game 2 in that 4-game series coming up later on this evening. First pitch will be 5:40. 59 degrees now as we approach 7:05. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Some filling in on the northbound side of 270 now off of 55 up to Graboy, and then from 64 right up to Olive, southbound side from Olive down to almost 64, some slowdowns, and getting kind of heavy on the northbound side through the work zone on 55. This is going to take you from Revis Barracks all the way up to Virginia, just past Virginia now. Southbound side seems to be okay, but that work zone on the northbound side is giving you some trouble. This report is sponsored by Baron Mere Glass and Door. Baron Mere Glass and Door has the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis, full of the latest, most custom designs located in the Chesterfield Valley. There you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. I'm Trent Erickson at 7:05 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We had one cold front come through overnight, a secondary coming through really this evening. So most of today is fine. Partly sunny skies, 72. Couple of showers, couple of thunderstorms, non-severe late this afternoon. Tonight, scattered showers, couple of thunderstorms, not severe, 50. Wednesday, beautiful day, sunny and nice, little breezy, 68. Thursday, sunny, 68 once again. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
All right, we're at 7:06 right now. 59 degrees is our temperature here downtown at the Arch. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show anytime or anywhere on our free Odyssey app. You can also watch the show live. We're on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble with our Window World webcam. Window World, simply the best for less.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, glad you're back with us here the 28th day of the month, man. Things are moving right along this morning, and we have got all kinds of reaction for you to the whole Jimmy Kimmel mess. I mean, what a jerk this guy is. And then he issues a completely defiant statement after basically calling for the death of the President of the United States. It's unbelievable. It exceeds free speech. You can't scream fire in a crowded theater. And, of course, he's not only defiant, but, the sad thing about it, Kim, is I listened back to it a few minutes ago, and I'll play it for you here in a minute. His crowd's cheering him on.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
But it acknowledges that it claims it was only a joke, but tells the joke again, to which his crowd uproariously laughs. I don't know if there's a laugh sign that comes on in the studio or whatever, but it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny to begin with. What I did find out yesterday is that not only is his wife, who's from St. Louis and has disowned all of her relatives here who support Trump, is his executive producer and lead writer. So for all we know, she wrote it. And we don't know.
And that's where is the line for comedy? And that's just not funny. I mean, Kimmel's trying to make the argument when he was saying she looks like an expectant widow, she's glowing like an expectant widow, that he was referencing the age gap, which, let's be real, we've made fun of Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. I mean, there is a joke to be had there about the age gap, but the fact that there have been now, he said this before this latest assassination attempt, but there had been 2 prior assassination attempts on Trump when he had made that joke. And it's one of those situations where that's just not funny for Trump. I mean, really for anybody, it's not. But with
would
Trump
he have made it
general,
about Biden? Did he ever make it about Biden? They're roughly the same age.
No, there's not an age gap between Biden and Jill Biden. That's
a
what
little
he was,
bit.
No, not like Trump.
She was his babysitter.
I'm not saying it's the right joke to make. I just mean that's you can't say it's the same between Trump and Melania. And
Jill Biden was the babysitter.
What's the age gap?
I don't know, but Jill Biden was the babysitter. I'm just saying she's younger than him by several years, if not 10 or more. I'd be willing to bet. But still, I mean, he didn't make that joke about. He claims it was a death joke that Donald Trump is near death, and she's younger than he is, so it was an age joke. He claimed. Here it is in case you missed it.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow.
And there's the laugh track in the background.
And she wasn't laughing.
No. And
Nor should she.
wasn't, because she called for him to be fired. We're going to have the reaction to that for you coming up, because I want you to hear his non-apology in case you were not up late, because most of you would not listen to Kimmel's show anyway. I mean, he probably got record ratings last night because people tuned in to see what his reaction would be, and he was defiant over it. It's just this is what it's come to. Tone down the rhetoric, not the left. This is completely on the haters on the left in this country. And I'll play you a bite from Dan Bongino yesterday, pointing out that exact same point. Hey, we got Todd Piro coming up. He was there Saturday night when the shooting started. Can't wait to get his firsthand take on all of that here in a few minutes. Plus, Mark Walters at the bottom of the hour. Here goes the left again. Anna Navarro, the others on The View, pushing for gun control in light of what happened. Even the guy bought the gun legally in California, never had a criminal record in his life. He just was driven nuts by the No Kings people. Clearly had some mental issues somewhere, and went out and bought a shotgun, which is his weapon of choice to do this, which once again proves the low IQ of many of these people on the left. I just have to tell you that in and of itself. All right. First of all, though, Ethan, let's go ahead and get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
There's no shame in threatening the president's life on the left. So this isn't a both sides thing. So we can just cut that garbage out right now and just stop the nonsense. On the right, okay, on any respected kind of mainstream figure on the right, if you were to go out and even imply someone should be physically hurt on the left for their ideas, you're almost instantly shamed out of the movement. There is no such corresponding effect on the left.
He's right. Dan Bongino there yesterday with his comments on where this hatefulness comes from and why they continue to spew it even when they try to tell everybody else to calm down.
O'Donnell had no cause to read the ramblings of a loon. None. Yet she tried to humiliate the President of the United States, who was just attacked.
Yeah. Bill O'Reilly there on the Norah O'Donnell interview. I heard Kim and Dan discussing this yesterday. Completely out of line. She picked that passage specifically so she could read the line accusing him of some sexual misconduct, which had nothing to do overall with the manifesto. There were thousands of words in the manifesto, and those are the ones she picked. And of course, when she did, the president went after her, which I don't blame him at all.
The so-called White House press secretary, who's a disgrace, she's a stone-cold liar, had the nerve to stand up there and read talking points being critical of statements, all taken out of context, that Democrats have made.
Hakeem Jeffries, what an embarrassment. The Democratic Party should be embarrassed. This guy stood up yesterday and said he's not going to back off one bit from his take war to the streets comment, even in light of what happened. That tells you who the leadership is on the left there.
Listen, and what you want to do is to deny.
No, I actually read the law. I do my homework.
Really?
You're just somebody who likes to have the microphone on. You know what I have to do? I read the law. I read the Supreme Court cases.
And I would say
no, what you should do for your constituents is actually read statutes.
Lee Zeldin yesterday on with this Rosa DeLauro. If you've seen her, the congresswoman, I think she may be from Michigan. She's got blue hair, and I don't know. Her appearance is shocking when you first see her, but she's got blue and black hair. That's her trademark. And she's clearly just one of these left-wing Karens who somehow got elected to Congress. She has no legal knowledge, no background, doesn't study anything. And Lee Zeldin, the EPA director, tied her in knots yesterday when she started complaining about the way they're handling climate change in this administration, because she's on the Al Gore train that the world is going to end soon. The sky is falling. Just listen to a little bit of it where he just called her out for her lack of knowledge in this area.
The budget proposal reads like a climate change denier's manifesto. When climate change is flooding our streets, poisoning our air, driving up health care and disaster costs, how can the EPA justify abandoning that duty to protect Americans to appease polluters under the false flag of economic growth?
Following the law, Section 202 of the Clean Air Act, where does it say anything about fighting global climate change? Loper Bright, Supreme Court case, you familiar with it?
No, I maybe others are. I'm not, but let me ask.
But that's really important. As a member of Congress, Loper Bright says that we, as an agency, don't have the authority to get creative. If Section 202 of the Clean Air Act...
No, but you don't have, excuse me, you do not have the right to say climate change does not exist, that it's a hoax, and that's where this administration is coming from.
I understand you're upset that you don't know what Loper Bright is. Do you know what the major policies doctrine is?
I'm upset because...
You know what the major policies doctrine is?
You know what, let me just
You're a member of Congress. You should know.
Well, you have moved from...
She had no idea what the hell she was talking about. He just nailed her to the wall.
I've seen debates between people where someone says, oh, you know what this is, right? And the person says, yeah, because you're too embarrassed. And I've been there. You're too embarrassed to acknowledge that you don't really know. And then they say, what is it? And I'm like, ha, ha. And then you can just tell that they really have no clue what it is. And it's right. I mean, there are certain, I don't know what those things are that he mentioned. I'll be the first to admit that. But I'm also not an elected member of Congress.
What it did was put limits on what agencies can do. Like, it basically said you can't change the law. You can't, as an administrator of the EPA, make law. You have to follow the law, is all that it said. And the left has been abusing that for years in these agencies, particularly the Environmental Protection Agency, pushing their climate change garbage. And Lee Zeldin put an end to all that, and they are losing their collective minds. Now they want to defund the EPA. If they don't get what they want, they try to defund it or stop it, right? That's basically it. If they don't get what they want, you're an ist or a phobe of some sort. That's the standard playbook for the left in this country, and that's exactly what was going on there. All right, we got Todd Piro, host of Fox and Friends First, on the line. He was at the Correspondents' Dinner. We're going to get his firsthand take coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We got a vehicle off the roadway here. This is going to be down in the brush, westbound off of 370 at 94 to look for. 270 on your eastbound side, make that just before 367. We've got a stalled vehicle working, and then some slowdowns on 270 on your northbound side coming off 55. You'll call it pockets all the way up to 64, just past 64. Southbound side from Olive down to 64, slowdowns. And 55 northbound, kind of heavy from Bayless on up to Virginia. I'm Trent Erickson at 717. On 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Home Shield Foundation repairs, guess what? They're going to be busy today, I'll bet, with all that rain that moved through yesterday in waves. We had waves of rain moving across the area. It soaked the ground. It was squishy this morning in my own front yard. And I imagine if you have a leaky basement, you had water in the basement. Or if you didn't yesterday, you probably will today, because it soaks into this clay soil and it puts all that pressure on the outside of your foundation. And Matt Hayes tells me that's where the problem is. You know, foundation cracks are normal because concrete settles. But once a leak develops, it never gets better. It only gets worse. You have to get it fixed. That's what they do at Home Shield. They're honest with you about it. They'll fix the specific problem and not try to sell you some sort of a waterproofing package like some of these big firms try to do. They just beat you up for work you don't need. Call Matt Hayes, 314-271-9900. Let him come over and give you a free estimate and see the difference. You'll see the difference yourself, because if you're a smart shopper, you're going to shop around, and I trust that Matt Hayes is going to give you the honest straight truth on what's going on in your basement. 314-271-9900, online at HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
Seated next to President Trump and the First Lady when the shots were fired before Secret Service swiftly moved us to safety backstage. The president's calm in the face of chaos, while yet another individual was trying to take his life, was really remarkable to witness, and it's something I will never forget.
We've got Todd Piro on the line. You talk about calm in the face of terror. He was there last Saturday night when all this went down at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Todd, good morning.
Good morning. To pick up on literally what you just said, I, in fact, wish I had been less calm because everybody, I think, views me as kind of a reactionary individual. Let's just use that phrase. And, yeah, I'm a guy from Jersey. I see something happen, and I kind of snap, and I'm ready to go. Not this time. I was calm, cool, and collected. Almost to a fault. In retrospect, after thinking about what could have been, I maybe would have had a little extra level of panic, but I just feel like there's like this professional thing that kicks in that kind of a situation, and it's weird. Now, the flip side of that is everybody's asking me, how are you doing? I'm exhausted. I'm not shaking. I don't have PTSD. I need a nap.
Wow.
I'm just really freaking tired.
Well, you guys have been going nonstop, obviously, since this happened Saturday. With the coverage has been great. But so set it up for us. Like, you're at the table. Did you hear the noise? Did everybody dive under the table immediately? How'd it go down?
It wasn't immediate. You have to understand, this is, I don't know if you've ever been in this room. It is a large room. There are 2,500 people in there. And so we are all at various stages. And while it was an honor to receive an invite to the event because it shows a certain level of the way people prioritize me, I was not right next to Mr. Trump. So that's my way of saying I was in the back.
Okay. All right.
But I was in the back and off to the side. And so I did not hear what sounded like gunshots.
Okay.
Now, obviously they were. But from my perspective, it sounded like commotion and then silence filled with yelling. And so slowly, I got to the underneath the table, not at a speed that I probably should have, knowing, what we won't know now, that there were bullets flying. I probably should have gotten down a little faster. And look, there were people crying, and I think it's important to remind everybody that how we all handle a situation, we do not know until we're actually in that situation. I'm one of these guys that when the plane dips a little bit in turbulence, I'm like, well, we're all going to die, Yeah. So I kind of expected a little bit more of a visceral reaction from me. But, there were people around us crying like they were scared. And people were trying to calm those people down. When I got up, And I was like, okay, your instinct of just talking to cops, you talk to a lot of cops in this job, and like immediately I was like, let's get away from the scene as quickly as possible.
Well, I thought you guys were all escorted out. Like, how long after you
No.
were all ducking were you then leaving the building? Or what was the time frame between those two things?
That is such an important question because it varied for every single person. There was no orderly, the event is closed, everybody leave in an orderly fashion. No, like I looked at my table of executives and I was like, we're leaving. They're like, let's go. So we left. We were stopped when we were trying to initially get out, but then we found a different way out and we left and we walked and we got as far away from the venue as possible. Did that matter in this instance? No. Did it matter in others? It would. And it would matter for the people that were locked down in there while I'm looking for a taxi.
Yeah.
And so it's a horrible a horrible ballroom to get into. It's a really impossible ballroom to get out of. And I really want to make this point. When you go to a wedding, we're all sitting at those circular tables and you back your chair up at the same time. The other guest backs their chair. You hit and you're like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The chairs tapping is the default at this event before you sit down. In other words, there is no room to maneuver. Last year when my wife was there, my wife, I'm sexist here, but women have to go to the bathroom often at events. And it took her 20 friggin' minutes just to leave the vicinity. Because everybody is so tight. It's a negotiation with every single person you encounter to make, excuse me. So you can imagine as all this is going down, when Secret Service needed to enter the vicinity, they were not going around the chairs. They were going on the tables. And so, not because they were trying, that might have been in their training, but even if it wasn't, that was the only way to get to where they needed to get to quickly.
Wow. I saw somebody online said if the mentalist was there, how come he didn't warn them this was about to happen?
Yeah. At the end of the day, guys, we need to realize that the mentalist is extremely good at what he does, but there is there's a lot of skill that goes into doing it the way that he does it. And
Right.
I talked to him yesterday. He's bummed. He's my friend, so we texted and he's bummed, but we both said it's pretty it was a different level of cuddle on Sunday when we got home to the kids.
Man.
And
I bet.
he's got like 4 kids. I got 2, so he was doing a lot more cuddling. But it wasn't the best of evenings.
I heard Rand Paul was even supporting the ballroom now at the White House
Yes.
because Trump has made the argument this would be a lot easier to secure and I would assume bigger too.
Bigger, but also I think it can accommodate fewer people. I think it can only accommodate 1,000, which means the media is going to fight this because they're not going to be able to go to their party. But, guys, I'll be honest. If I need to be one of the ones that doesn't get the invite going forward, then, that's just the reality I'll accept, and I'll move past it.
Do you think they'll try to redo this, Todd?
I know he wants to.
Yeah.
Of course he wants to, but I just don't think logistically it's possible. For all the reasons that have been discussed, I'm going to add another one why it's logistically tough. What's a month from now? It's Memorial Day. What happens Memorial Day? Everybody's off from school, at least, in normal states, not like the Northeast. We go to July practically.
Yeah.
You guys are off. So what are you going to start doing? You're going to start traveling. Where are you going to start traveling? Washington, D.C. Hotel rooms are going to be booked. We're not going to be able to do this again. So, and, a lot of these ballrooms are going to be booked for weddings. And I don't see it. Jackie Heinrich said probably it would be difficult, and she's on the board.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
All right, buddy. We're glad you're all right.
Me too. I'm glad I'm all right and talking to St. Louis again.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you next week.
Will do, guys.
All right. Thank you. Todd Piro there live and was in Washington for that event. Man, something they'll never – how could you ever forget that if you were there? Coming up, we're going to get to Mark Walters. It's 2A Tuesday.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down, 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Wow, looking at some stunning pictures of a house they just did with Rhino Shield down in Oakville, and it was stucco. The outside of the house is stucco, and they can apply this anywhere you need, just about on the outside of your house, and it seals it up, and you get all that great waterproof that ability that it provides you. Here was the owner's response. I couldn't be more pleased. They painted our house, which is stucco. Not only does the paint look amazing, the prep work, the caulking, the repairs ensured our home would not only look amazing, but be free from water intrusion. And thrilled again, happy with the 25-year warranty, very impressed. Thank you, Darren, and the folks at Rhino Shield. Another 5-star review. If you're interested in finding out more about Rhino Shield, reach out today. Evaluations are always free. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Call 877-25-RHINO or go online to 877-25rhino.com.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
A 61 headed down the southbound side into the Wentzville area. We've got a crash working right at 6470 there. So it's very heavy getting into that zone. You're making yourself a bit slow going on the eastbound side of 64 through the Chesterfield area, and then 170 over to Big Bend. Westbound side hits the brakes from Kings Highway to roughly Big Bend. 270 southbound slow on the brakes from Olive down to 64. Your northbound side all the way from 55 up to 64 is heavy. And northbound on 55 start slowing before 255 all the way up to Virginia. I'm Trent Erickson at 731 on 97.1 FM Talk.
The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Gravois Bluffs. Come visit us now. Ready to refresh your space with furniture that's built to last? The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
It is the 28th of April, so you're running out of time to get this great deal from Zero Res. It only lasts till the end of the month. We're almost there. Buy one room of carpet, get one clean for free. So buy one, get one, unlimited rooms for the last 2 days of the month. Call them today. I'm telling you. Here's the phone number, 314-474-2020. That gets you to my friends at Zero Res. You can go to ZeroResSTL.com. Tell them you want the 97.1 special. That's it. Zero Res, they can do just about any surface in your home. They'll do the air ducts as well right now. That's also part of the deal. $5.99 for a whole system air duct cleaning. Get your air ducts cleaned out before we get into the worst of allergy season, if you're not already in it. Get your house clean so you have a refuge. You can get inside and you have a completely clean home. They've cleaned the carpets, they've cleaned the hardwood, the floor, the tile, and the air ducts, and you're in great shape. Buy one, get one free. Call them today. It's 314-474-2020. Tell them you want the 97.1 special.
The Cards, the Pirates.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 5:40. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now. $30 billion was set aside for meso victims. And in most cases, your claim is settled out of court without a jury trial. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Real talk, today's issues. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
When you read the manifesto of this shooter, ask yourselves, How different is the rhetoric from this almost assassin than what you read on social media and hear in various forums every single day? The answer, if you're being honest with yourself, is that there is no difference at all. Much of the manifesto of the would-be assassin is indistinguishable from the words that we hear daily from so many.
If you ban them in the future, the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available.
So you don't shoot deer with a bullet that size. If you do, you could cook it at the same time.
Put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
All right, we've got Mark Walters back with us, host of Armed America Radio's Daily Defense, and, of course, a spokesman for the Second Amendment Foundation as well. Mark, welcome back.
Well, thanks for having me, Mark. Good morning, Kim, and good morning, St. Louis.
Absolutely. Still reacting to what happened in D.C. this weekend. You heard the bite there from Caroline Leavitt. I heard Anna Navarro on The View try to turn this to a gun control issue. Of course.
You heard right.
That's what they pivot
first,
to.
I want to comment on Todd Piro's segment there, because I think Todd is nuts, because everybody on Blue Sky is talking about this being faked or something. So did Todd really see that? These people are unbelievable, aren't they? You look at what Hakeem Jeffries said, what they're talking about on The View.
Yeah.
This is almost worse than Charlie Kirk. And it really tells us how the other side is thinking. But yeah, you're right. When it comes to The View, they tried to pull this nonsense that maybe now the administration, because they tasted the fear of death, the cabinet might be more open to gun control. And here's what I would like to point out to our listeners, and that is California is the most gun-controlled state in the nation.
Yep.
Washington, D.C., outside of Chicago and others, is the most gun-controlled city in the nation. I'd like to know which law that's not in place that they would like that would have made it impossible. You see, the answer to that to an honest, clear-thinking individual is there are none. And Todd Blanche addressed that when he was talking to that monster over there, Brennan, when she asked about the same thing. And maybe we need to change the way Amtrak checks our firearms. What she didn't tell you, because she clearly doesn't know, is that Amtrak's policy is more stringent than TSA. If you're going to travel on Amtrak, you have to notify them 24 hours in advance if you're checking a firearm, unlike an airport where you just show up. These people have screws loose.
Well, I don't disagree. For people that didn't hear Hakeem Jeffries, of course, they went to him and said, what about the rhetoric on your side when you're telling people to go to war? This was Hakeem Jeffries' response to that, in case you missed it.
Anything that has been said, certainly as it relates to the comment related to maximum warfare everywhere, all the time, in connection with the redistricting battle that Republicans launched. I stand by it. You can continue to criticize me for it. I don't give a damn about your criticism.
Yeah, they're going to keep at it. It's not stopping at all, Mark.
No, and it's not going to stop. And sadly, Mark, you and I predicted this.
Yes.
You and I and Kim predicted this on a previous program, that there would likely be another attempt. And as much as I hate to say this, it will likely happen again. If you're a praying individual, you need to pray for Donald Trump and the safety and security of his family and his cabinet, because the Democrats have made clear, as you just said, this is the man that wants to be the Speaker of the House. This is the man that is accusing Republicans of cheating while they're cheating in state after state after state and using rhetoric like maximum warfare and standing by it, and he doesn't give a blank. It's unbelievable what we're seeing, but it's really not.
No, I agree. And I hate to say it, but I think there will be another attempt. As long as Donald Trump has some sort of power, people will do whatever it takes to bring him down. And I mentioned this yesterday. It's ironic to me, the party, the liberals who are so against guns and want them taken away from everyone certainly like to have access to them when they want to use them to try to, in this case, assassinate Donald Trump.
Yeah, and you're right. And let's just go a step further. They hate guns. They don't hate guns. They hate your guns.
Yes.
They love their guns that protect them, but they hate your guns. And again, this question has to be asked on the heels of hearing something like that from Jeffries, as we've asked you listeners to do many, many times over the years. And that is, when you lay your head down on your pillow at night and go to sleep, ask yourself this question. What is it about their agenda that requires your disarmament?
Right.
Ask yourself that question and think clearly through it. You will come up with an answer.
You know, I have an acquaintance who used to work for Amtrak many years ago, and I asked that question via text. I'm like, aren't there loopholes in the system here? Because you know, if you decide to go from here to Chicago, you walk over here to the Amtrak station, you buy your ticket, you don't go through a TSA, you don't go through a magnetometer, you haul your luggage right down the escalator and you get on the train. I mean, I really think that's probably something they need to look at, because had this guy been armed with an explosive vest instead of firearms, he could take the train right into Central Station in Washington, D.C. and blow himself up. They don't have, I mean, they use dogs and they use some things like that on occasion, but they don't have nearly the security on the trains that they have at the airport.
Yeah, and you know, I haven't traveled on Amtrak. My gosh, it's probably been 40 years. I can't even recall the last time I traveled on Amtrak. I was a kid when that occurred, and I think my mom took me on a trip somewhere by ourselves. It's been so many years ago, and I'm not really up on the security there. I would like to think that there is clearly some security, because we've seen many train attacks around the world, terrorist attacks. So, but I can't really speak to that. I'm not really aware of the specifics. I do know that if you want to travel with a firearm, they have to be notified in advance. I don't know what the protocols after that are.
And that's like, and Mark,
to carry a gun on board the train, I'm just telling you now, 24 hours in advance, I have no idea.
But that's because you follow the law, right? I mean, because you're supposed to tell them that you're doing that, you're going to do that. What I'm saying is there's not you don't have to run your stuff through a conveyor belt or a TSA situation. So and don't get me wrong here. I think you should be able to fly with your firearms, which you can, and transport them. I just think the security on the trains could be better than they are. This guy could not have flown into Reagan National with those guns. He couldn't have, because they're illegal in Washington, D.C.
But even when you alert them 24 hours ahead to say, hey, I'm bringing my gun on there, do they give you anything so that if someone were to stop, that you would have a slip of paper or something to say, hey, look, I notified you? Because then what? Probably. I mean, what would the consequence be if it's shown that you didn't actually notify them, like you kicked off or you charged? Like, what happens? Fined?
Well, that's a completely legit question, and I guess as I'm listening and I don't know the answer, here's what I think. If you notify, there's got to be a protocol there, and I don't know what it is, but I can't imagine. Imagine calling Delta and saying, I'm flying with a firearm 24 hours from now, and then showing up and getting on the plane with a gun in your carry-on bag. I can't imagine that's the case with Amtrak either. So I don't know what the protocol is after you notify them. But that's definitely something to look into, no doubt. I think more important even than that is you've got the correspondence there, as you were listening to Todd talk about. It's been held at that hotel for years, guys.
Yep.
You have the general public staying in that hotel, along with lots of media correspondent. You have the president and cabinet members there, and you're in D.C. Now, if we go back and look at what happened in Vegas, we see the footage, the closed-circuit TV footage of this guy hauling bags of guns in, on the carts. I don't know what happened in D.C. He had a shotgun and a pistol with him, apparently. How he got it in there, where was the security at the hotel? There's clearly security lapses somewhere that they're going to have to look at that hotel.
Somebody said they had security set up to stop an army, but not an individual. What if there had been multiple, what if there had been 10 guys running through the lobby and one of them made it through? Yeah. I mean, my guess is all of those protocols not only get looked at, but adjusted pretty quickly here as a result of what happened.
I would certainly hope so, because, you could look at this, and I'm sure the Secret Service will do this in Homeland Security. What if that were a test run? Yeah. What if they did blitzkrieg with 12 people? How many would have gotten through? You got to wonder about how that happened in the first place, as far as getting the hotel and the security there and what they do in their protocols. I'm sure Secret Service is going to review it, as they should, again, for the third time.
I see the benefit of having it at a hotel, because the people who are coming from out of town can then stay there, and it's just very convenient. But that also raises more security concerns, because this guy, he knew this was clearly very premeditated, and he made sure he had a room several floors up. So he sprinted down some 10 flights of stairs to get down there and breach the security area.
Yeah.
And guys, more important, the guns that he bought in California and abided by all of their gun control. And then in Washington, D.C., he violated their gun control. So, if you're a liberal out there, I am wide open to that one bill. I would be interested to hear it, and I would be willing to talk to you if you can provide me that one bill that you don't yet have. Problem is you can't.
I just love the conspiracy nuts that you mentioned there at the top, the blue sky people or whatever. So let's see. They wanted to stage an assassination attempt, so they went out and found a dyed-in-the-wool Kamala Harris supporter who donated to Kamala Harris's campaign, who attended No Kings rallies, who was willing to commit his body to prison for the rest of his life in return for helping out the Trump administration, which he hated. It all makes perfect sense.
Yeah, then they put him on a meth pipe and sent him back to bed after he posted that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But okay, this is the third time. Let's remind people that this is the third time.
It's a great point.
Nonsense. It's utter nonsense. What's happening is pretty clear to see. You have hate-fueled rhetoric 24/7 coming from the left at Donald Trump. They have lost their collective minds. Okay, the two ideologies in this country right now are no longer simpatico. It used to be, we discussed this on my show on Sunday, that people could agree to disagree at the end of the day, and I think of Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill as a classic example. Epic political battles during the day in the House of Representatives and the White House when he was the Speaker of the House, and him and his wife sat down with Reagan and Nancy every Tuesday for steak dinner, and they were very good friends. Those days are over, ladies and gentlemen. They are not returning. These two ideologies are not compatible, period. I don't know how all of this works out, but I can tell you the other side does not want to hold your hand and sing Kumbaya with you. They are finished with you. They have left the room, Elvis.
Well said, Mark Walters. Hey, we always love having you on, my friend. Thank you.
Oh, always a pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
We'll talk to you soon. Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. You can check him out there. And, of course, Armed American News is another great site you can go to for all the latest on that stuff. It's true. It left the building. Coming up, we're going to get to Kim on a Whim. What are we talking about?
Well, we've just been talking about how much people hate Trump, and there is a bizarre new way that some liberals, a liberal group, is trying to convince people who are maybe starting to question their support for Trump to leave the MAGA movement.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, so things are slow going. If you're on 250 or 270, make that on your northbound side. You are heavy going off of 55 now on up to past 64. Southbound side now from Page all the way down to 64 is on the brakes. If you're traveling on 170 southbound from Olive down to 64 is slowing. And the westbound side of through to 64 is slow going from Kings Highway. Pockets pretty much all the way into Chesterfield, eastbound side through Chesterfield, and then from McKnight over to Big Bend. And 55 northbound, very heavy through the work zone from Weber on up to Virginia. I'm Trent Erickson at 747 on 97.1 FM Talk. This report is sponsored by i3 Broadband. Spring is here. Time to toss out that dusty treadmill and your leggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, they're springing forward with their longest price guarantees ever on their gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio to start your spring off right. I'm Trent Erickson on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, you may be sitting on a bundle of cash there in equity in your home. Are there repairs that need to be done? Are there bills that need to be paid off? Why put that off? Talk to my friends at Golden Oak. They're offering a 4.5% 15-year fixed mortgage right now. Other companies talk about dropping rates or waiting for rates to drop. They've already done it at Golden Oak. Reach out to them at 314-567-GOLD. Find out what works for you. They're going to be honest with you if they can help you. They're going to be honest with you if they can't. But you could get started today, and in about as short as 14 days, you have the cash in hand to get rid of that high-rate credit card debt that you're carrying and maybe save yourself $1,000 a month. That is about the average that the cash-out refinance customer gets gets each month back in their pocket at Golden Oak Lending. Reach out to them and tell them Marc Cox sent you, and you want to find out more about that. Now, that is a 5.442 APR FHA 15-year loan with 20% equity, of course, qualified credit, and additional terms apply. But what a great opportunity to refinance at 4.5% and get that money you need to pay off some of the short-term interest. 314-567-GOLD. GoldenOakLending.com. Their NMLS number is 114937.
97.1 FM Talk in Action is spotlighting Our Ladies Inn, providing safe shelter, care, and support for pregnant women and children facing homelessness. Since 1982, they've helped local families build stable, independent futures. Learn more at OurLadiesInn.org.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Your home deserves siding that's as tough as it is beautiful. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we installed James Hardy siding, built to handle everything the St. Louis weather throws its way, rain, snow, or summer heat. Not only does it look amazing, but it also protects your home with long-lasting durability and low maintenance. Plus, with our expert team, you'll love the seamless installation process. Ready to give your home a stunning upgrade? Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com. Protect your home with the siding that's built to last.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Kim on a Whim.
Kim on a Whim is proudly brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com.
Billboards are starting to pop up across the country, trying to target people who maybe are starting to have doubts about their support for Donald Trump.
Who are these people?
And I'll tell you here in a second.
Okay.
So the billboard says something about having doubts. Visit leavingmaga.org.
Losers.
And it's paid for by Leaving MAGA. I had never heard of this Leaving MAGA group, but here's the founder talking about this effort.
We created our community as a new destination and an off-ramp for those who feel like they can no longer support the MAGA movement and support the president, but needed a place to go.
Okay. So if you actually go to this Leaving MAGA website, what you'll see is it's actually rotating because I've been looking throughout the morning. So they're clearly trying to change up the pictures of the people who have left the MAGA movement. And if you click on their pictures, you can read a little bit about their story. And it's a long write-up. Like, for example, it tells you their name and it tells you where they're from. So there's this woman named Courtney Ray from Detroit. And, she's talking about, I was born in Detroit in 1987. And, my mom was an office manager and yada, yada, yada. So you really feel like you kind of get to know her. And then if you go down, it says, when Trump was running for president in 2016, I was dating a guy who was MAGA. He was very wealthy, very successful, very charming. At the time, a lot of my self-worth came from men. I was very attracted to my boyfriend's elitist attitude. She said she began to loathe Hillary Clinton, but started really questioning things, and she has now officially left the MAGA movement.
Oh, wow.
But it's story after story. And like I said, these billboards are popping up across the country. So, for example, like Iowa was one of them, but there are already plans to put them in several other places. So besides Des Moines, Iowa, the signs have been paid for and posted in Austin, Texas, Spokane, Washington, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. But there are more billboards that are planned to go up in Idaho and Florida.
I see a lot of beta males on here, but go ahead.
The founder, who you heard from, says his goal is to not convince committed supporters to change their vote, but to reach people who may be already questioning their beliefs. And it's just funny if you start reading some of the stories.
This is all fake. This is all fake. I'll guarantee you they made up every single one of these.
No, I bet you that they're actually legitimate people. No, I don't think that they're fake people. Are you thinking they're like AI?
Fake.
I don't
they
believe
made
it.
this up and they hired AI to write this story. about why they were suddenly so disappointed.
It's in a really
Donald
embarrassing
Trump has
group,
done
but-
exactly what he said he would do when he ran for office. Who are these spineless slugs who are suddenly so unhappy with the world? Their rights have been taken away from them, let me guess. I have no empathy for these idiots at all.
I don't have empathy, but I'm not convinced they're fake. There's plenty of people who would fit this category. Just because we think they're crazy doesn't mean they don't actually exist. And let's see if these billboards are going to be effective. I mean, how many times would you be driving down the interstate and you're thinking, you know what? That billboard, it is making me question whether or not I want to support Trump or anyone who's associated with him. I'm so glad I saw that billboard to give me clarity.
Yeah, I'm
Is that really
still
going to be
reading through a
effective?
few of these, but yeah. When I left MAGA, I didn't have a political home. I felt displaced.
They use a lot of the verbiage that you hear on the left, and that just goes to show that, like, being privileged and all these different things, and it just kind of tells you where they're at now and probably how far they've come.
Mental illness on display here if people want to go have a little bit of fun reading today. I'm still learning as much as I can. I know the left isn't perfect, but Trump is denouncing all Democrats. That's the closing line from, oh, wait a minute, what's this one's name? Deanna from North Carolina.
So you really believe these are all AI?
Maybe not all, but a lot of these stories are made up. They've borrowed people's photos, maybe with their permission, and made up a story that they've switched.
Well, they might.
There's no polling evidence. There's no evidence at all that this has happened. That they were actually MAGA to begin with, and they've somehow now changed their minds because Donald Trump is not doing what he said he would do, which is a bold-faced lie.
Well, we don't know really why. I haven't read enough of their stories to know why.
My point is they were never
changed.
MAGA to begin with.
Well, I was Hillary Clinton. I was liberal, and look where I'm at now. I mean, people can definitely change and go from one extreme to the other.
I just don't think any of these people have bailed on Donald Trump because he's not MAGA enough. Everything he's done is to making America great again. From the trade policies to stopping drug boats to closing the southern border, all of it is about making America great again.
It makes sense to us because
I'd like
we
to debate
support him.
every single one of these idiots if a single one of them is real. But I'm not sure that they are.
I would love to see that.
Oh, my goodness.
We should reach out to them.
Woo! Bring it on. Coming up, just a few weeks left in the Missouri legislative session. We're going to talk to one local legislator, representative, on what's got to get done between now and May, the end of the session here coming up in a couple of weeks. Also, Ryan Wiggins is going to join us at the bottom of the hour, about 8:35. We'll see you then.
Don't miss a baseball showdown at Busch Stadium when Shohei Ohtani and the LA Dodgers roll into the Lou, May 1st through the 3rd. Kick off the weekend with Friday Night Live and a must-have short-sleeve hoodie giveaway. Saturday brings a Mason Wynn bobblehead celebrating his Gold Glove Award. Then Sunday features a sleek blade collar shirt giveaway. Big names, big matchups, and big giveaways all weekend long. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotion.
This is Mason Wynn. Get your tickets at cardinals.com.
The 1-2, and that's grounded up the middle. Diving play, Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws, he got him!
What's up, Cardinals fans? Mason Wynn here. On Saturday, May 2nd, when we face the Dodgers, you can take home the Mason Wynn Gold Glove bobblehead presented by the Shane Company. It's got my chain, my first gold glove, my whole look, just how I rock it. Plus, a few rare all-gold baubles will be randomly mixed in for 500 lucky fans. This is one you won't want to miss. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotion.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the Blurry horizon?
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property with selective land clearing. Whether it's for a building site, pasture reclamation, hunting, or trail creation, Missouri Brush Control can transform your unusable acreage into accessible and productive property. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. 5-star rated on Google reviews. See impressive before and after projects today at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Tell them Bo Matthews sent you to MissouriBrushControl.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Jimmy Kimmel defends himself. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, over a joke he made days before the White House correspondents' dinner attack.
It was not, by any stretch of the definition, a call to assassination.
Kimmel on his ABC show late last night explained last week's joke that First Lady Melania Trump has the expectant glow of an expectant widow. In a post on X, she called that violent and hateful.
I agree that hateful and violent rhetoric is something we should reject. I do, and I think a great place to start to dial that back would be to have a conversation with your husband about it.
Senior advisor to the First Lady, Mark Beckman, told Fox this morning
Jimmy Kimmel should be terminated from ABC.
Kimmel was suspended briefly last year over comments related to Charlie Kirk's assassination. And as Republicans call for toning down anti-Trump rhetoric, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna just told Fox
that political violence is out of hand, that it is affecting people in both parties, that both parties have a responsibility to address it. There should be a national commission, and we can look at concrete things. One, the role that social media is playing.
The suspected attacker Saturday night, Cole Allen, facing 3 charges so far, including attempting to assassinate the president.
The judge ordered him to remain in custody, and a detention hearing was scheduled for Thursday. Federal authorities say he took a train from California to Chicago, then on to Washington, and checked himself into the Washington Hilton ahead of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He is believed to have sent his family a letter moments before the shooting in which he expressed deep anger at the Trump administration without mentioning the president by name.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. The U.S. military has stopped another Iranian oil tanker.
What President Trump has done is block Iranian ports. They're no longer able to export crude oil. They're running out of storage. They're running out of the ability to continue their program, and it is hurting their economy each and every day.
Fox's Trey Yingst. This is also having oil prices rise and another 6-cent surge today at the gas pump. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Good morning, I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. It is a dreary start here to this Tuesday morning, but at least the severe weather has moved out of the St. Louis area. 59 degrees our temperature now at 8:03. Thousands, though, are still without power in both Missouri and Illinois this morning following yesterday's storms. According to the St. Clair County Emergency Management Agency, at least one tornado touched down in Clinton County, Illinois. And several other possible tornadoes here in the St. Louis region. The National Weather Service will be working to confirm those. We do know, though, preliminary reports indicate there were winds as strong as 70 miles per hour in Madison County, for example. Now, damage is being reported across the metro. There were downed power lines and trees. For example, a tree fell on top of homes in both St. Anne, which is in North St. Louis County, and in Belleville in the Metro East. Hail also a factor. Many of you dealing with that. Some pretty large hail. We're talking 4 inches in diameter was reported in Washington County. Now, thankfully, even with all of this, as of this morning, no reports of any injuries. All right, also making headlines, Missouri's Attorney General is suing Dollar General over deceptive pricing. Inspectors visited 147 Dollar General stores here in the state and found dozens of them were charging customers more for an item at the register than the price listed on store shelves. So in response to that lawsuit, Dollar General says its customers, quote, knowingly and intentionally shop, adding that customers can reject items at checkout if the price is different from what was listed. In sports, the Cardinals beat the Pirates 4-2 yesterday. Game 2 in that 4-game series coming up later on this evening. First pitch will be 5:40. We're coming up on 8:05, 59 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, eastbound, if you're headed on 64, you're slow going through the Chesterfield area over to 141, and then again from Lindbergh to Big Bend. Westbound side, Kings Highway fills in over to 170 southbound. Pockets that take you from Delmar down to 64. 55, your northbound side through that work zone is pretty heavy going from Weber on up to Broadway. Southbound side, passing Broadway is pretty heavy. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a crash there on the southbound side getting into the work zone. And 270 northbound, you're slow going coming off of 55 all the way up to 64, and southbound side from Olive down to 64. This report is sponsored by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Trent Erickson at 8:05 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Call Point Pest Control, mention Annie, and get 10% off your pest problem. Once summertime hits, ant populations begin to reach peak numbers, maybe even into the millions. Call Point Pest Control before they invade your home. Call Point Pest Control 636-798-0023.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
We had one cold front come through overnight, a secondary coming through really this evening. So most of today is fine. Partly sunny skies, 72. Couple of showers, couple of thunderstorms, non-severe late this afternoon. Tonight, scattered showers, couple of thunderstorms, not severe, 50. Wednesday, beautiful day, sunny and nice, little breezy, 68. Thursday, sunny, 68 once again. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Still in the upper 50s right now downtown. 59 degrees is our temperature at 8:06. You can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. All you have to do is download our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, good morning to you. It is a Tuesday morning. Back in the chair this morning after having to take Monday off. Appreciate Dan Buck filling in for me yesterday. Kim and Ethan in here, and I think Sue Thomas is back tomorrow, correct? Am I right about that? I think
she is back.
Had Monday and Tuesday off, and will be joining us again tomorrow morning. Hopefully you survived the weather yesterday and didn't have too much damage. I know there's still some people without power this morning. Kim and I she's been talking about that in the news, and we talked about it a bit earlier. Some reports of some pretty good size hail and some straight line winds of like 70 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. So that is never a good thing, and a lot of people probably cleaning up this morning, I imagine. But fortunately, we made it through that. The meteorologists all made it through it. I was watching yesterday wall-to-wall coverage all afternoon.
Yeah, I had it on in our basement, but 3 different times we had to go down there because of the sirens.
Yep, that's very true. And Annie did a good job, and so did Reardon, getting Dave Murray on here repeatedly yesterday to kind of talk about all this as it was happening. So we were glad to get that covered for you. You can always depend on 97.1 throughout the day when anything like that is happening. Coming up, we'll get to State Representative Richard West in just a few minutes from District 102 to talk about the race to the finish in the Missouri legislature this year, what they got left to get done, and what he's hoping to see get accomplished here into the governor's desk before things wrap up in about 2 weeks. Ryan Wiggins at the bottom of the hour at 8:35 this morning as well. But we got lots to cover. Obviously, there was the shooting in Washington this weekend and the attempted assassination of the president and some of his top cabinet members. That's kind of been the focus of what we've been talking about this morning. We talked to Todd Piro. If you missed that, by the way, he was there. He was in the room when it happened. Everybody has a little different recollection of how it went down. If you missed that, you can always hit rewind on the Odyssey app or pick up the podcast wherever you normally get your podcasts from, Apple, Spotify, the Odyssey app, 971talk.com. We've got that everywhere you need to go, so you can hear that this morning. Interesting take by Todd Piro, to say the least. So we'll get to all that for you still ahead. Right now, Ethan, let's hit our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
Laughing at that they were. Do you get it? Do you understand? This isn't Kimmel being funny. This is wish casting. This is dreaming. This is hoping. This is Jimmy Kimmel trying to will into existence the death of Donald Trump.
Yeah, Scott Jennings kind of nailed the dismount this weekend, I thought, certainly with his summation there of Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy says, but it was only a joke. I was just joking. Yeah, the man's already had 2 assassination attempts. You just had a third one days after your latest joke, Jimmy. Time for you to leave.
Now they know, they've lived it in their own flesh, the fear that our school children go through. Yes. Now they know what it's like to have to jump under a table the way that school children jump under a desk.
Yeah, the dimwits on The View trying to turn it to a gun control issue. Bear in mind, the guy that did this bought his guns in the state of California with the toughest gun laws in the nation. I would challenge Whoopi and Anna and the other brain surgeons there to come up with one change in the law that would have prevented what he did.
Look who said this about you. It's not true. Then why are you throwing it out there? You can't do that if you're a responsible journalist. You have to verify it. So the president was absolutely 100% correct in saying to Miss O'Donnell, you should be ashamed of yourself of reading that.
Yeah, there you have it. Bill O'Reilly reading Norah O'Donnell the riot act for her interview with Donald Trump by repeating fake parts of the manifesto to him.
I think this is a helpful assassination attempt because it is the first one to show that you can be radicalized by liberal smugness.
Wow, Greg Gutfeld delivering a brutal punch to the left yesterday on the 5. I don't know if you had a chance to see that or not, but he was absolutely right. This guy was a relatively successful teacher, a smart guy, had like an engineering background
from Caltech
degree, and ended up being radicalized by the hatred of the left. Attended No Kings rallies when there were no kings in the United States. Shouldn't there be a No Kings rally going on right now in Washington, D.C.? Because the king is actually here from England.
Maybe they should.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a No Kings rally, this would have been the weekend because we don't have one. We're celebrating 250 years of not having one.
If you already strongly dislike Trump or conservatives in general, Christians, and you're searching something on social media, obviously the algorithm is going to pick up on that, and they're going to feed you all videos that just affirm whatever you're wanting to see.
Yeah.
So that's also part of the problem, is that if you're searching for things, you will find them.
Yeah, I loved the interview with some of the Dems. Jamie Raskin this weekend when they confronted him, even on liberal media, about this, and he's like, "Show me proof. What are you talking about? I don't know what language you're talking about. What language do we use?" So I have a montage of some of that for you, and hover your hand over the dump button just in case here, Ethan. I think I edited this properly, but I did have to edit out some of the curse words of the left to put this together for you. Listen.
Challenge somebody to go and find a clip of a Democrat invoking violence.
Let's extinguish him for good. I will go and take Trump out tonight.
We're going to fight it in the courts. We're going to fight it in the streets.
When they go low, we're going to bury them below the Capitol. That's what we're going to do.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
We're walking down a damn different path. We're fighting fire with fire. We're going to punch these by taking behind the gym and beat the hell out of them.
Punch back, kick back, dunk over their heads, and win some power.
Fight back, punch back, and make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down because they deserve it.
Kick them when they're down because they deserve it. The vitriol from the left is overwhelming. And to Gutfeld's point, they own this. They don't like it. They don't want you to tell them that, but they absolutely own it. I want you to play cut 8 for the people here, please.
I disagree with Jesse. This guy did hear voices. They were Tim Waltz's, they were Ted Lieu's, they were Brandon Johnson's, they were CNN's, they were The View, they were MS Now. Okay. I think this is a helpful assassination attempt because it is the first one to show that you can be radicalized by liberal smugness. If you read his posts and if you read his manifesto, it sounds like every smarmy, sanctimonious, self-satisfied pronouncement from a like Brandon Johnson, like Waltz, like Lieu, the people who think they know better than you. This guy was not a crank. He was not deranged. Don't buy into that narrative because it lets these pompous off. He didn't do this because, as Jesse said, he didn't have voices in his head. He was just following orders. He was operating on a filter that said Trump was Hitler, and therefore it would be immoral if you didn't take Hitler out.
Yeah.
You're still, I get his point, and I agree. However, you're still deranged if you are driven to the point where you literally go and try to shoot up an entire ballroom with the president. There's still some mental illness there. I don't care how smart you are and all the accolades you have, you're mentally ill.
But the family didn't seem to, until they got his manifesto, claimed they saw nothing wrong.
But it's more rare with these cases, but we do see that sometimes where people say, oh, I thought they were completely normal. This is completely unexpected.
Or maybe if you attended a No Kings rally, mandatory counseling is in line.
They have a bus on the side.
If you've bought into the ridiculous claim that we have a monarchy or a tyrant running this country, maybe it's time for a mental health check. I'm just saying. Because this guy went to a No Kings rally and a few weeks later tried to take out the president of the United States. They're among you, just so you know. When you go out and you hold your sign to dump Trump and kill Trump and all that stuff, ever so often one of your ilk decides to take you up on it. And none of this is coming from the left. None of it. None of it is coming from the left. Like Bongino said, you'd be run out of the business if you went on the radio and supported violence against your political opponents on the left. Nobody wouldn't stand for it. But the left gets away with it all the time. It's just plain as day. All right, quick break here. We're going to talk more about some Missouri political issues, a few hot button issues. We were talking about this with John Lamping earlier. Big elections coming up. We got issues that could be on the ballot in August or could be on the ballot in November. What does that mean, and what is the legislature doing before the end of their session? We'll be right back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Things are a little heavy still on 55 if you're headed northbound from Revis Barracks or just before Bayless on up to Virginia. Your southbound side, very heavy passing Broadway down into the work zone on 64. On your eastbound side, heavy into Chesterfield because of a crash in a lane. And then you're still going from Lindbergh on over to Big Bend. Westbound side from Kings Highway to 170. Southbound side of 170 tightens up as you go to Forest Park Parkway, past that down to 64. And 270 northbound right off Gravois, north up to 64. You've got delays southbound side just approaching 64. I'm Trent Erickson at 818 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, Victory Men's Health can make a huge difference in your life, gentlemen. I'm just telling you, take my word for it. They're about to open up a brand new location over in Edwardsville. I can't wait to go over and see it. And when that does open up, that will be their 5th location, 2 in the Metro East, 3 here on the Missouri side of the river. There is no excuse for you anymore not to find a Victory Men's Health. It's near where you work or where you live, somewhere in between, easy to get to, easy to make an appointment. You go in and they take a blood draw, right? And somebody reads your blood panel, and their medical doctors talk to you about ways they could improve your life, whether it's maybe you have vitamin deficiencies, maybe you're low on testosterone for your age. It happens to everybody as you age, but it needs to happen gradually, right? And you can control that. There's ways to do that. They can help you with weight loss. They do cardiovascular and cancer screenings. They focus on men's health. And if you're not getting that because you put off going to the doctor for your physical every year, this could save your life. It very literally could save your life. Go visit Victory Men's Health. They've got 4 great locations now: O'Fallon, Illinois, O'Fallon, Missouri, Town and Country in Sunset Hills. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. It's victorymenshealth.com.
How would you like a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter of St. Louis, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer? Give yourself peace of mind now by calling for a free estimate. 314-499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com. If you're looking for the best eye care in St. Louis, look no further than the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. Make your appointment today at yourEyeDoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
The Cards, the Pirates.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 540. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
One thing's for sure, Missouri voters will get to decide if they should continue to have an income tax. That's going to be on the ballot in Missouri this year, among many other things. The legislature got that done, and the governor signed it. We've got State Representative Richard West on the line this morning from District 102. Richard, welcome back. How are you?
Morning, Mark. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Sort of the sprint to the finish now, isn't it, for you guys?
Yeah. Budget's the next big thing on the list, and then just kind of tying up some loose ends.
Yeah. So, how are things going with the budget? Is that going to be? Is that going to get in under the bell? Oftentimes, I know the opposition is out there ready to try to slow that down to whatever extent they can.
Well, this year, I'm kind of liking the way it's going. The speaker assigned all of the conference committee members, so they will be the budget will be in conference committee over the next couple of days, and I'm sure next week it will come back to the House for approval.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. What about the bill that came over from the Senate? I believe maybe Adam Schnelting is the one responsible for it over there, that would move these school board elections to November.
Yeah, actually, this is huge for St. Charles County. What this bill does is it moves school board elections to November. It also moves any ballot initiatives relating to school boards, such as tax increases or bond issues. It moves that to November as well. And then one other thing that's a lot of people have been asking for, and it's the availability to designate what party you were with. It's not mandatory, it's optional. and it would be put next to your name on the ballot, so you can declare what party you are with when you're running for school board.
So we know who would not then want to put that there with the Democrats would be all the NEA-backed candidates, but that's fine. It's a move in the right direction.
Oh, they might own it.
So as far as moving the election to November in St. Charles County, I support that. I'm a resident of St. Charles County, but what are the odds that this would ever happen on a statewide level? Like, would this ever happen, for example, in St. Louis County?
Well, this is what's really funny is the reason we had to curtail this down to St. Charles County is because a lot of the other districts are really concerned with their school boards. I mean, I just can't put it any different. So their school boards are vehemently opposed to this.
Of course.
But in St. Charles County, we have a weird dichotomy that the county government, most everybody except for the NEA wants this to happen.
Right. And the weird thing, we talked to Adam Schnelting about, Senator Schnelting, and he said that he wanted it to be in effect statewide, and there was pushback because a lot of the rural areas didn't feel like they needed to do that because they don't face some of the same pressures you might face from NEA-backed candidates in the immediate St. Louis area, maybe Springfield, maybe Kansas City. Some of the more rural areas were less willing to look at moving that. I guess they didn't see the need for it.
Yeah, and because they didn't see the need for it, and they actually got their school districts and the NEA on this, so they would just rather leave it alone. But, since we've been doing this, I have people come to me on the backside that said, we would love to do this. If it works for you guys, of course, we want to try to bring more and more on. So I think this is a trial run, and I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, and I wonder what their definition of is if it works for you. I mean, is the definition, hey, if voter turnout goes from 18%, that I think was roughly what we had in the last April election, to 50% or 60% because it's in a November election timeframe, that's a win because you have then the representatives elected to the school board are voted on by a much larger slice of registered voters.
Yeah, I've often said that busy people have extremely busy lives, and they're out there. We go through these very contentious races in November, and then come around to April, there's just so much voter fatigue and so much going on that people either can't or forget, and that's not an excuse. But if we put all this on the November ballot, it gets more people to pay attention to what's going on and gives them a better opportunity to already be in one place to deal with all the issues.
Yeah, it's a good point. I hope they're looking at that. So, Richard, do you have an opinion on when these other big issues that got passed should be on the ballot, like initiative petition reform or Amendment 3 or the income tax?
A lot of this the governor's still working on. Right. I know you guys have heard this, and it's going to be his call. We're hoping it'll come up here quickly, that he'll have a decision. I mean, there's so much scuttlebutt going around that I couldn't make a good estimate on that.
Well, but do you have a feeling that they should be on different ballots? Like, if they're going to do IP reform, should it be done in November when they are going to have a little bit higher voter turnout? My argument is, my concern is the people on the left are going to be whipped up for this midterm. I think they're going to have a pretty good turnout in November. I would assume if you have a conservative issue like initiative petition reform, the time to bring that out might be August.
Yeah, so August would be better, and actually there are some timelines that we are working on. I'm not going to go too deep into those, but if we don't meet certain timelines, then the next timeline would be ineffective.
Okay.
So, there's a lot of strategy behind what the governor is deciding to do. I think we should probably hear something soon.
A little strategery going on there. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
I like to hear that. What else are you working on personally between now and what is the end of session? By the way, is it May what?
It's like the third Friday, the end of the third Friday of May.
So we got about 3 weeks left. Then I was wrong about that. Then
yeah, we've got three full weeks left. Personally, my alternative therapy for veterans. We've talked on this before.
Right.
It's made it through the House. made it through Senate hearings. We're waiting to get it onto the Senate floor. We have it very fine-tuned, and if folks are paying attention, 2 weeks ago, the president signed some executive orders right along lines with what the Missouri state law would be allowing and doing. So dealing with specifically with psilocybin and treatment for veterans and first responders.
With PTSD, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that Ibogaine? Is that what it's called?
So, no, it's actually our law will be dealing with psilocybin only.
Okay.
Ibogaine is another substance that will probably be short behind maybe next year. It was on this bill, but it was stripped off. It had too high of a fiscal note. And right now in the budget crunch, we don't want to put any more responsibilities on our budgetary process.
Got it. Richard, I'm out of time. Great having you on. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Have a great day.
We'll talk again soon. Richard West, their state representative. We'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in a school pickup line, thinking about what to make for dinner. Are the kids' practice jerseys clean? If she sent out that last email before leaving work. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Members get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your HVAC systems at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com today. After all, comfort is our middle name.
All right, we heard the rain splattering against your windows yesterday, get you thinking about maybe replacing a few of those? Let's face it, if you've got an older home, the constant heating and the cooling in the winter can cause things to expand and contract, and well, you start losing your energy efficiency pretty quickly there. If you're interested in new windows, I'm going to recommend my friends at Window World. WindowWorldStLouis.com is their website. You can reach them at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. Get your free estimate today. None of that high pressure nonsense, no gimmicks. They make great windows at a great price. You're getting simply the best for less, and they're number one in windows in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. You can't beat that. Just over 20 years in business, and they have helped over 80,000 customers in St. Louis. They're also the preferred window of our St. Louis Blues. 1-800-GET-WINDOWS or WindowWorldStLouis.com.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. The United Arab Emirates has announced it will exit OPEC on May 1st in a major blow to the cartel that coordinates production among many of the world's largest oil producers. The UAE was the third largest oil producer in OPEC in February, behind Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Federal Reserve policymakers will gather in Washington this week in what may be Jerome Powell's last meeting as head of the U.S. Central Bank. As a final act, Powell will likely oversee tomorrow another vote by the central bank's policy-setting Federal Open Market Committee to hold its benchmark overnight interest rate steady at 3.5% to 3.75%, where it has been since December. Coca-Cola has reported quarterly earnings and revenue that topped analysts' expectations. For the full year, Coke is now projecting comparable earnings per share growth of 8% to 9%. That's up from the prior forecast of 7% to 8%. Its shares are currently up by more than 3%. Futures are still mixed as oil prices continue to rise. That's Your Money Now.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Things are slow on 64 through Chesterfield from 340 over to 141, but it's improving. They just cleared a crash from that site. On the eastbound side, a little further from Lindbergh over to Big Bend, you're still slow, heavy on the westbound side from Kings Highway to 170. And then 270 northbound Gravois, northbound up to 64 is slow, and northbound on 55 is tight, but that's not until you get closer to the river on up to Virginia. Southbound side, as you pass Broadway, you're heavy. This report is sponsored by Barron Mere Glass and Door. Barron Mere Glass and Door has the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis, full of the latest, most custom designs, located in the Chesterfield Valley, where there you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. I'm Trent Erickson at 8:33 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Let's talk about your windows here. Hopefully they're working like they should, especially after yesterday's storms. But there are some signs that they're not doing their job, right? If you have them closed, but you still feel the draft coming in on the cooler nights, they're not opening and closing like they should. Obviously, any visible damage. But even if you're hearing a lot of noise from your neighbors, those could be some clear signs that you need to call my friends at Lakeside Renovation and Design, because the whole team of experts there at Lakeside, they're going to do a free consultation. They'll walk you through the entire process of replacing the windows at your home that I'm assuming are vinyl with these Infinity from Marvin windows. They're 8 times stronger than vinyl. They're designed to last. The whole team over there, by the way, at Lakeside is in-house, which I really appreciate. They're not outsourcing, so you're not having to waste your time and energy hounding people to make sure that they actually show up to the job and do the job that you're paying them for. They're going to get the job done right, and they're going to back it up with a lifetime workmanship warranty. Lakeside Renovation and Design just posted this really great video showing some work they did on this home, where they put these new beautiful black Infinity by Marvin fiberglass windows on this home, and I'm telling you, it completely changed the look. This modern, sleek look. It really can help your curb appeal. You don't think about that, but this could be a game changer for your home. They're going to work with your budget. They offer financing options. Again, this is just a company that you can trust. It's Lakeside Renovation and Design, and the website to go to is windowsbylakeside.com.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
From O'Fallon, Missouri to O'Fallon, Illinois. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins. All right, Ryan Wiggins is in studio with us this morning. Ryan, great to have you back in here. How are you?
Hey, good. Good to see you guys.
How was your trip, by the way? Did you go with one of your kids somewhere?
Yeah, we just went down to Florida and did a couple we didn't do Disney, but we did do some theme parking, which is my favorite pastime.
So you just parked somewhere?
We yeah.
And then they had theme nights every night.
Oh, nice.
We had theme nights in the parking lot.
That's the cheaper option.
Yeah.
Kids were going to the theme park and they get there and you're just in a parking lot.
No.
Tonight's
I
theme
said we're
is
theme
hula.
parking.
Yes, theme parking. We did our themes for our parking was, hey, peanut butter and jelly day in the car.
Woo!
They're like, we did this in Florida?
But you know what? Kids would love that. That's what's funny is we go all out as parents and have these extravagant plans, and kids would probably be just as happy as if you had a peanut butter and jelly night. No, you don't think so?
Not that or going to MGM? No, I think I'd rather
not
go to
that.
MGM.
Not that.
You know what, though? My 8-year-old, he was very excited for some of the things we did. You know, we went to Legoland and SeaWorld and did some really fun stuff. But he was just excited last night when we got ice cream.
Yeah, so it's the simple stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Could have been cheaper to do that.
Yeah.
A lot cheaper. No doubt about that. Yeah. One thing I was playing a bite this morning from Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries is mad that people are suggesting the Democrats are to blame for driving this guy over the edge. And he claims that when he told people to go to war, Ryan, that he was telling them that it was all about the redistricting and that he's not sorry for anything. Listen to this.
To disagree with each other strongly when necessary, to battle it out in the public sphere of ideas, but to make sure that we respect the opposition in terms of those disagreements that are anchored in principle, and also to make clear that everybody, whatever your ideological perspective is, we all love America.
Yeah, that's it. That's his take, is that he also said that he was going to do whatever he had to do if it took fighting on this redistricting issue, which you've been looking at. And then I heard this morning that Florida is now considering redistricting that would add 4 Republican seats.
Yeah, Florida's been waiting because they're so strategic.
Yes.
Not just DeSantis. I mean, their whole House and Senate are very strategically minded Republicans, which is awesome. They've been waiting to see what the Supreme Court was going to say about the Voting Rights Act and some things that it looks like they're not going to have in time.
Maybe not.
They're going ahead and doing it now. But I figured I would just bring you guys, since redistricting is always a topic in this off year, or now I guess on year of the election, of the midterms,
right?
Of how it's playing out and which states are gaining, which states are losing Republican seats, Democrat seats. Right now, California is going to gain 5 Democrat seats, and Texas is going to gain 5 Republican seats. So those
That's a
cancel
wash.
out. Those cancel out.
Right.
You got Missouri, has been very bold.
+1.
+1 for Republicans. North Carolina, +1 for Republicans. And Ohio, oddly, they weren't doing this to be bold, although their map was fairly bold. They were required by law to redistrict. And I don't remember if it was just a thing they do every 4 years, or if this just happened to be a court case or whatever. They were required to do it.
Is it like if you have enough of a population growth, because there would be a likely change then in the makeup you have to, I wonder?
That wouldn't be a reason to cause it. Ohio is unique. They have some certain laws that I think they have to do this anyway, but they had to do it regardless. So they are adding 2 seats. So right there you got +4 for Republicans. Then we go to the other side. Utah has an activist judge that has forced Utah to redraw its congressional seats to where they will lose 1 Republican in a ruby red state. So Democrats have added a seat in Utah. They have also attempted to add 4 in Virginia.
Right. Tied up in court.
That's still tied up. So we don't know exactly how that's going to play out. But if it does come out where, and they're being very bold in Virginia to try to eliminate as many many Republicans as they can. If that succeeds, they will actually have a -1 for Republicans over this whole span.
So the Democrats would add 1 seat.
Unless Florida succeeds, which it looks like they will. Georgia could add another 1, but they're tied up in court too. And so is Louisiana. So you could have, if you average all that out, you could have about a 5-seat swing toward Republicans in the end.
Even after all that.
After all of this stuff.
And that doesn't count the Civil Rights Act decision by the Supreme Court.
Right. That doesn't count that.
Right.
The voting rights,
Voting Rights Act.
Voting Rights
Civil
Act.
Rights Act. Voting Rights Act.
Is I think what you're talking about. And then so we're coming out ahead, but the problem is, bigger picture, Democrats just don't have as much gerrymandering to be done because they've been doing it for years. And so Republicans have more leeway with this and are gaining seats because Democrats have already tapped out most of their states. California's adding,
Illinois.
Virginia might, and Illinois could add a couple.
Well, just the way that they had drawn the map when they did, which I forget what year that was, but how ridiculous it was.
Oh, that Snake District is actually the district I'm in.
Oh.
Yeah, the one that goes from here to almost
Springfield,
way north. So there's still a little room for some Democrat states to add. They won't do it this year, which is what we're all focused on. But it's amazing how much it's just the hypocrisy of people standing up and going, well, you can't do that in this state, and then they'll turn around and do it in their own state and vice versa.
Right.
But Democrats have been doing this for years, and Republicans are just catching up. That's all it is.
It is interesting. Back to the Voting Rights Act. What is your interpretation of what that can mean? Let's say they decide, which I think would be the correct ruling, that it doesn't. The Voting Rights Act was not worded the way that it's worded to allow you to specifically carve out majority districts intentionally, and that's what they used it. That is the excuse to do that, and lived under the protection of that for years now. And finally somebody challenged it and said, that's not the intention of the Voting Rights Act. What you're doing is flying in the face of the law here, because you're supposed to do it based on population, and they're supposed to be large and contiguous, not crunched into a little circle in the corner of Missouri just because you want it to be a majority district.
Yeah, it's a racist.
It's not supposed to be race-based.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what it is. It's race-based, which means it's a racist way of drawing lines.
Correct.
There is no real interpretation around that. I mean, you can come up with ways to spin it if you're a Democrat, but ultimately, if you are drawing lines based on the race of the people in the district, that's racist. And so I can't foresee the Supreme Court just punting on it. I think they will rule on this, because a lot of people are saying, well, maybe they'll get to it and they'll just kind of issue a soft ruling. That's possible, but I can't see them completely ignoring it. I think they'll have to address the fact that this is a race-based way of drawing district lines, which can't be legal.
So, but numbers-wise, I've heard it could be in the teens. If that happened, it could flip those seats red by 15.
Yeah, it can. 15 would be the high end. So if you want to go safe, you'd say something like 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
Just to be safe, because it mostly affects, guess where? Southern states.
Okay.
Where there is the majority of the black population in the United States lives in the southern states. And so this law gets enacted and used by Democrats in southern states more than anywhere else. And those are Republican-led states. So you'd see a swing of, probably up to 15 is true. It's just a matter of how bold they'd be and, what's the actual number that would come out to. I always say 10 just to be safe.
Let's go Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that will be one of the last rulings. They'll wait till the final day and then they'll drop it.
They certainly have. They have so far.
Till they're getting out of town, ready to get out of town, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting to watch all these things play out, because if you add in, I think we've had this discussion before because it's all coming back to me as we're talking, that if you also add in just the population swings that have happened since COVID, since 2020, the last time they did a census, you're talking about another probably 10 to 15 seats there that would move. Now, that doesn't mean they'd all be congressional seats, but you are talking about swings in, let's say, again, be conservative here, let's say 8 or 9 seats. But that would be more important to the presidential map because of the allocation of delegates to the Republican states.
You can certainly see why a particular party may have been trying to replenish the citizenry of certain states.
Yes, and they miscounted deliberately.
Even if they're not citizens.
This doesn't get talked about at all, and I don't know why. DeSantis mentions it every now and then, and Trump once in a while. But they deliberately miscounted the census last time under Joe Biden to where Republicans actually lost a net of 4 seats in the presidential race. And everybody knows it. Mm-hmm. It's not even a disputed fact. Democrats alike, just like Republicans, know, but they can't do anything because it's already done.
Well, you know what? Statistically, it's showing that liberal women are not having babies nearly at the rate conservatives are.
Also true.
So you fast forward, a decade or two, and there could be a dramatic shift just because of that statistic right there.
Love it. All right. Can you hang around, Ryan?
Yeah.
All right. Ryan's going to stay in studio with us. We'll be back in just a minute.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, things are slow still. If you're traveling through Chesterfield and 64 eastbound from 340 to 141 from an earlier crash, that's gone. And we've also got delays that go from 170 over to Big Bend. Westbound side from Clayton to Big Bend, slow. Southbound side of 170, still jammed up getting into 64. And northbound on 270, so slow pockets from Gravois on up to 64. Southbound side just approaching 64. I'm Trent Erickson at 847 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888. Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
All right, let's talk about whatever you got going on at your home. If it's plumbing or electrical related, Grasser has got you covered. You hear little Barrett talking about it all the time on here now with the plumbing because they've added that more recently, but it's the same great service. Same company that's been around 51 years now. If you're in the sound of my voice and you've got electrical or plumbing issues, whether it's just a leaky faucet or you got to get the main drain taken care of, you can call Grasser Electric. You can depend on them to do that. Grasser will take care of it. They're calling it Grasser Home Services. But no job is too big or too small. Same great service. They've been helping me with my electrical needs for years now. And they will also help me with my plumbing needs the next time I have anything going on. So it's easy. It's an easy thing to do. You just reach out to them. You tell them you heard Marc Cox talking about it, and they're going to get it taken care of. They do emergency service, which is so important, whether it's electrical or plumbing. You need somebody you can depend on who's going to be there. So just remember one website, and you can schedule right online. It is grasserelectric.com.
What's happening now
He appears to reference a motive.
is happening here.
He writes this quote, administration officials, they are targets.
It doesn't happen to people that don't do anything. We're going to continue to do a great job.
97.1 FM Talk.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and zero res. Marc Cox here. Buy one room of carpet, get one clean for free, unlimited rooms, and whole system duct cleaning for just $5.99. Visit ZeroResSTL.com.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
You're back with Marc Cox and Kim St. Onge. The Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk.
I love that they have like 2 random chicks holding the front door open. We're not even trying anymore. It's not even like, I just mean like they're not even like Secret Service people. It's like the girls who work here are holding the door. Even if it was the guys, it wouldn't even make it better. It's like they might as well put a doorstop in. Like, they put up a doorstop and a scarecrow.
You recognize that voice? Jimmy Fallon yesterday or Saturday night was caught on a hot mic, and he was complaining about the lack of security at the front door. He was standing up there by where people were walking in and posing to get their picture, sort of not really a red carpet, but sort of a red carpet where you walk in and there were people doing interviews. Jimmy was doing interviews. He interviewed Brian Stelter. And later, I think it was Carrie Lake who went up to the CNN table and referred to Stelter as a midget and said, "You guys are the blame for this and you're why this happened." But we're going to ask, the reason I play it is it's being portrayed as a hot mic moment by Jimmy Fallon. Fallon not only is going to own it, he can't wait to talk about it tomorrow when we have him on the radio. So he'll be on here tomorrow morning, and we'll chat about it with him then.
Yeah, he enthusiastically told me yes when I asked him if we could talk about it.
So people are pushing that like it's a controversy?
Yeah, like hot Fox News host caught on a hot mic moment complaining about security. He was just making a joke about the fact that it looked like a couple of cocktail waitresses were holding the door open for people. Right?
He said you might as well put a doorstop and a scarecrow. I mean, that was the biggest critique I heard was certainly we saw the video of the dude just booking it into the venue. You know, he got stopped. So there was clearly security inside, but people were saying that any Joe Schmo could have just walked in, that they should have had security outside to be checking people so they couldn't even get to that other checkpoint.
And for some of them, they were saying there were pre-parties there in different rooms at the hotel.
Yeah.
Fox had one, probably ABC had one, CBS, all the networks had rooms set up where they had pre-parties. There were people allowed in that room that did not have a ticket to the dinner, so they were coming in through a different door. So it was just a security nightmare is what they had going on there. But I thought I'd point that out since we'll have Jimmy on tomorrow. This was a couple funny stories I hadn't had a chance to get to yet. Headline: CNN forced to postpone, quote, imperial presidency documentary after another left-winger tries to kill Donald Trump. So they produced a documentary called The Imperial Presidency. Fareed Zakaria is the one that did the documentary. And he's about to air this on CNN talking about the imperial, the tyrant Donald Trump, the Hitler Donald Trump. When you can replace imperial with all of those words, but they use the word imperial because it didn't seem quite as harsh. And they're about to do a documentary on how awful the Trump administration is. And lo and behold, since he got shot, they decided to delay it.
You know, it's a really good litmus test to think, could I air this after, or would I say this after an assassination attempt?
Yeah, wouldn't it be? Let's just say that up front.
Because what'll happen is for the next 2 weeks, people will have a little bit more reservation about calling him Hitler or fascist or whatever. And then it'll just go away and they'll start again.
Right.
But I think you said it in this hour. I was coming in listening, and you said it very plainly, and it was completely true. It's not just Hakeem Jeffries going, these clips where you're saying to get out in the streets. It's assigning the word Hitler or fascist or imperial in this case or whatever to him, because then it makes it immoral not to do something about it. So when you keep assigning pedophile or whatever, these crazy terms to the president, it makes people feel morally justified to do crazy things.
As someone on X pointed out, they keep having to delay program on right-wing fascism because of left-wing violence. I mean, the Apple TV had to postpone a series called The Savant about a lady who uncovered right-wing extremism because they were scheduled to air it just after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So once again, you got Apple recognizing that programming like that inspires violence against the political right.
And does the left feel good about the fact that the last number of these people who have tried to do these heinous acts have all been very, very left? You know, the fact that this guy who tried to shoot Trump at the White House Correspondents' Center had donated $25 to the Kamala for President campaign
and attended No Kings rallies.
But does that make you feel proud as a fellow liberal? Does that make you feel good about being part of that group that's trying to quite literally kill the other side? That's what you resort to?
They just go into full defensive mode.
It's like if they can't steal the election, they're like, well, then we just got to take the person out.
Yeah. Well, here's the final word on the whole thing. Should they hold this event again at this hotel? Not according to John Hinckley Jr., the man who shot Ronald Reagan at the same hotel. He goes, it's not a secure place. That's all you need to know. Somebody went and interviewed John Hinckley yesterday, who drew the conclusion, maybe you shouldn't hold events there because that's where I shot somebody too.
John Wilkes Booth said they should have it at the Ford Theater.
Yeah. So did Saturday Night Live. They suggested Trump should go there. Unbelievable. All right. Have yourselves a great Tuesday. Kim and Ethan and Sue and I will be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Stay tuned for Kill Meet.